Check one and check two. Hey, what's up, man? This is the motherfucking man that can come with a plan, whose name is not Stan, but he has a friend named Dan, and he's never been to the country of Japan. But just like flock of seagulls, I ran so far away. So, getting back to the podcast known as Talkin Schmit. Today on the show, it's Nate Sherwood, motherfuckers. This one is going to be boom, boom, boom. It may have already gone viral. We don't know.
Hashtag, are you okay?
Dope. We're going, dude. We're in the Matrix, bro. I took the green pill. I went down the rabbit hole, man.
You got to turn it. You got to, I don't know. You're like sideways.
Oh shit! Sorry. Do you want me to go vertical? Do you want me to be like this?
Can you? Is this? Yeah, there you go. That's perfect.
Cool. Sorry, my phone's all fucked up. There we go.
No, yeah. What up?
I just wanted to get some checks. There we go, dude. Cool. Czech Republics, man. All right, we have the Czech Republics in. Audio check 1 2 1 2. How's my audio? Am I okay?
Yep.
Dope. All right.
How's mine? Can you hear me all right?
Head on over to your local shop and ask for Blood Wizard. If they're out, then you can tickety-tack on down to bloodwizard.com where you have all of your conjuring needs.
I can hear you just fine, brother. I'm just happy we got all the audio checks done, dude. I was worried shitless that I never done Zoom before. I'm not very technologically advanced. So I was just like hoping everything lined up. Anyway, long story short, this is Nate Sherwood and you're watching Talkin Schmit.
It's cool, like tonight is the night.
Here we go again.
Just give it the old college try right now.
Big dog's in.
Schmitty.
96 times, Schmitty.
Thanks, Schmitty.
We on? Schmitty?
Talkin Schmit.
That's called go to the hospital, bitch.
I be shitting my pants, man.
Your Rolodex is fucking deep.
It's about the one.
Who's this guy thinks he's tough shit?
What's up? We're tastemakers.
Come on, Schmitty, what the fuck?
Let's hear it for Drink Smith. Yeah!
All right, listen up, y'all, because this is it. This one may or may not have already gone viral, but either way, the privilege is yours, kids. This is the one, the only Nate motherfucking Sherwood. What's up, dude? We didn't even talk beforehand because I'm excited, you're excited, so let's just record it all and see what goes down.
I'm down, man. This is awesome, man. But I appreciate being on the show, man. I'm extremely honored. So stoked to be here. I'm rocking and rolling, man, like a broken colon, living the dream, brother.
Hell yes. Who do we got on the wall behind you? Is that some of your art?
So no, this is my friend Dan Lafferty. He used to do art for the original Palace Skateboards out of Portland, Oregon, not the Palace that came out of England like 20 years later. Really amazing artist, really neat guy. Did a lot of art for Cal Skate and Sport in Portland, Oregon. When I was a kid, we were really close. We grew up together. He would always just murder the contest. He was the smoothest guy ever. He was like the Chico Brendas of our neighborhood. Just amazing dude. And then this one behind me is actually done by my wife. But I just, I thought that'd be a good little spot to, hang those up. Honestly, I just thought I need some background, some background stuff other than just sheetrock and like, texture. I always think that's pretty bland when you watch things,
What do you think of what I got going on?
Oh man, I love your decuscations, man. Obviously, I'm biased towards that Eduskate one right there. I like the DLX. I like the spits. I see all kinds of Kukermont going on over there, man. It's a well curated wall, a well skated wall of decuscations you have going on there, buddy. I definitely think it's very dope.
I love watching it grow, but I'm getting to a tricky point right now because it's like kind of full, and I'm wondering, like, do you disrespect anyone with a little coverage?
Right. Yeah.
Because they're coming in still. I love, like, I get shit in the mail and it brings me back to my youth. I love it.
Hell yeah. Things like being a kid. I remember living for that, like, middle school, just being so stoked going to the skate shop and just being able to afford one sticker or two stickers, and going home and plaster them on your door, plaster them on the inside of your locker at school, plaster them on a binder, whatever. And just, it's a wonderful memory right there. You know what I mean? We can all re-skate to that feeling. And I definitely know what you're talking about. When I get stickers in the mail, I get all giddy too. I feel like I'm a seventh grader again.
Yeah, I put them in binders and shit. Are you a coffee guy?
I drink a little coffee here and there. I don't get nuts on it, but I mean, as you can tell, I'm already naturally hyperactive as it is. So The only time I really need coffee is when I'm hungover.
Coffee is the number one drink in the world. Everybody drinks.
Which is funny. Like either I'm hungover or I just didn't get enough sleep. But yeah, I'll drink it on occasion. I'm definitely a fan. I got nothing against like, you know, any of the subgenres within too of caffeinating your brain. You know, mate and tea, obviously, coffee, any of those stimulants I'm always a fan of, but in moderation, you know, I'm already a spaz the disease.
But you're naturally high strung. You're hyper.
Yeah, I'm naturally just fucking ready to go, man. So it's one of those really rare situations where I've been intoxicated or inebriated the night before, and I just need, you know, something to get the day going at the shop or whatever. So I usually get a cup of coffee, you know, just straight black, you know, nothing fancy. Usually just put a couple, you know, sugar cubes in it or whatever. I'm ready to go.
What's your party life like right now? Are you still partying hard, or have you mellowed out, or what? That's
a good question. You know, every time I try to get out, they pull me back in. It's really funny running, you know, owning a skate shop at my age, because, you know, you're always looking at yourself like, fuck, someday my liver's going to give out. You see all these other people your age that are quitting drinking or you know, laying back, going into, you know, moderation with it. And, you know, it's pure comedy because I'm stuck around 27-year-olds all day, and guess what they want to do as soon as they get off work. So I end up in this kind of vicious cycle all the time, even though it in some ways it's against my will. There's the devil angel thing going on each shoulder. Some nights I'm all for it. Other nights I'm like, God, I just want to go home. I'm fucking tired. I just worked a 12-hour day. And then someone's like, come on, go for a beer. And you're like, okay, one beer. One beer turns into 7, then turns into 9. And then next thing you know, you wake up next day with a fucking headache. You don't want some kid come to the counter asking you how to hard flip. You're just like, go away. I can't deal with this shit. I don't want to teach you how to hard flip right now. Can you come back in like an hour and a half? I can barely stand straight. Like I'm dizzy. I'm faded. Like I feel like I want to vomit. I'm 42 years old. I'm not 22 anymore. And I keep forgetting that all the time because I work around a youth-based culture. And that's one of the worst things about that, I suppose.
Yeah, well, the good thing is, you know, Felper always told me, he's like, you want to stay young, you got to surround yourself with the youth.
That's a very poetic way of looking at it. You know what I mean? And there's something very nice about that. But goddamn, there's a lot of things about the youth that piss me off too. You know what I mean? There's a lot of the optimism that he obviously personified too, but there's also that negative fact of they can bounce out of anything. They don't get hungovers easy. They can stay until 4 a.m. Like 2 weeks ago, I was spitting at this bar, just spitting records out in, I was spitting some old dub and house, like, you know, traditional roots reggae. And, you know, I could geek out forever, you know, traditional dub and all that stuff, and a little bit of techno stuff for this bar that's in town. And anyway, like these people, this guy Ferg Vicious and his lady Kyle are like amazing skaters, and they're like, invite me out. And after the thing's over, it's like 2:30 a.m. I'm like ready to go home, go sleep. They're like, hey, what are you doing? Blah, blah. And they're like still full energy. I'm just like, fuck, dude. I'm burnt. I'm drunk. I'm beat. I can barely walk. I'm stumbling around. I'm putting all my records away. Like I'm dropping 7-inch records, like fucking shit up. Like the bartender kept serving me Red Stripes all night, which was rad because he was a huge fan of King Tubby and Prince Fiore and Sister Nancy and all that shit spin. So he just kept bringing me Red Stripes, thinking I was like, obviously it'd be hyped in the Jamaican beer, which, you know, was, you know, obviously awesome. But, you know, after spinning from 10 to 2, just drinking straight, I was like, fuck, I'm old. I just want to go home to my wife and fall asleep. I don't want to, you know, be here. But then, you know, it's just crazy. The next day it really hit me at work. But yeah, it is nice. I mean, there's that the problem with youth is it's wasted on the young, right? You know, you have that mind skate where, okay, I'm still young. I can still hook myself down. I can still skate this. You're hanging 22-year-olds, 23-year-olds. They're doing it. And then all of a sudden the next day you're achy. Something's wrong with you. You know, in my case, you rip a labrum. You've got fucking torn cartilage. You can't skate for 3 years. You know, and so there's this funny like kind of balance there where like what Felper was going on about, where it's beautiful to be around young people because they keep you young, they keep you up to what's going on in the world. They keep you around, you know, socially in the sense of understanding how things are evolving and changing and all those beautiful attributes of mankind in the world. But there's also that downside is they have this energy level that no matter how much you try to fight it, genealogy and biology is against you. You know what I mean? And you're trying, but you still are like, fuck, 2 drinks hit me a lot harder than 2 drinks you. That slam hit me a lot harder than it hit you. Being out of that bar till 2 a.m., fuck, my ears are ringing, or my ears ringing in my case because I'm deaf in one ear. Fuck, I'm done. You know what I mean? So it's really funny. You know, I got one employee. Actually, I only have one employee at all, Nate Suber. And me and him went out for drinks the other night. My wife is out of town, and we're like, yeah, let's go for drinks. And fucking next thing I know, I see everyone in the bar. Same thing. Just holy shit, we get out at 2:30. I'm wired because I've been drinking caffeine and booze, which doesn't mix well. And fucking, I'm up till like 5:30 in the morning. I go to work the next day, and I just felt like shit. Every customer must have looked at me like I was a fucking zombie. It was just ridiculous. But yeah, there is something beautiful to that. The je ne sais quoi of the youth is a beautiful thing. But you know, at the end of the day.
What's your go-to for the caffeine alcohol? Jaeger bomb?
No, not really. So what's funny is like I'll get drunk and then I always make this cardinal sin of going to like a gas station on the way home to, you know, to try to sober up. If I can ride mass transit, obviously I do that. Sometimes I just gotta cheat the system and drive dirty. And so I'll hit like coffee, I'll hit tea. I don't like energy drinks. I'll use some yerba mate or something like that. But
yeah,
I don't fuck with those energy drinks. They scare the shit out of me. But it's weird. It's like my alcohol upper mixture is usually after the party. I go to a gas station, I drink some coffee, I eat a brownie with some chocolate in it, some, you know, peanut butter to hide the breath. And then I fly under the radar of the police. Woo! Yeah. That's kind of my secret, which I just gave away, which is hilarious. Well, some cops gonna watch this, give me a DUI tomorrow. They'll be like, "All right, we got you." So,
yeah, the cops pull up. I've been watching Talkin Schmit. I know your secrets.
Yeah, I know your secret, man. I've been watching Talkin Schmit, bro. I know your secret. I know why your breath smells like peanut butter and chocolate. You're not tired after a long day at work. You're fucking drunk. So yeah, that's usually what does it to me. I don't usually mix them right hand in hand. I try to stay the fuck away from uppers and downers at the exact same moment in time. It's just, God, that's not healthy whatsoever.
Right. Well, where did this all start? Where were you born and raised?
So this is the funniest thing ever. Two separate situations right there. I was born in Viroqua, Wisconsin, but my dad got a job when I was 2 months old in Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
So I don't remember anything about Wisconsin at all. I mean, I was 2 months old. So, I mean, I was a little screaming baby shitting in diapers when my family moved me to Portland. And so I grew up in the suburb of Portland, Oregon, Vancouver, Washington. And I went to school in Beaverton. And I was in Portland until I was 23. So I was born March 9th of 79 when I was born. So Portland, I consider home. That's, people ask me where I'm from, I always just say Portland. But if you get statical in immigration, I have to obviously pull out the Viroqua thing because your passport says where you're born. But that was my upbringing is P-Town.
So you were there before Burnside?
Absolutely. I actually helped build a lot of Burnside. You can ask Red about that, or Sage, or Pigpen, or Neil, any of those guys. It was actually funny. My mom would bring cement bags down there in her Volvo and stuff, and I'd like donut skate them. I remember when Ross Island would come donate cement, like Red would just throw me a shovel and be like, "You start scooping. Come on, you got this." And he called me Noodle. My nickname was Noodle as a kid. It's funny. Everyone had a call sign, right? No one went by their real name. I mean, obviously, till this day, it's like that, right? Wild card, blah, 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 right? But, I freaking had really noodly hair at the time. Like I had a long blonde, squeeb going. And I was a little grommet. So they just passed me a shovel. Sometimes they'd pass me a trowel. Sometimes they would just pass me some chicken coop wire and be like, lay this down like this. Dave McBride was actually probably, I would say like a father figure to me down there. Dave McBride, Chloe and Donk, Tanya, they were really good to me early on in life. Would give me rides places, give me lift homes if I missed the bus. Console my heart when I got broken by girlfriends. I mean, Burnside was like family to me. It was like Cheers. I would go down there. I would help build stuff. Sometimes I'd fuck it up. They would fix it. They're always cool to me. Germ, I remember donating clothes to Germ, like going to Goodwill and giving Germ clothes when he was sleeping in a tent down there. Nice. I remember, fucking sweeping up needles and shit when, it was kind of infinite stage just to get the junkies out of there. I remember so much crazy shit. I was at the first Halloween bash ever. I remember Wade Spare and fucking Chad Vaught showing up and us stripping the fuck out. I was a fanboy of H Street, obviously, and obviously Wade's shit and Hot Batch. So meeting him was like this dream come true. The first time I got a free deck was from John Cardiel at Burnside, actually.
No way.
And he'll tell you about this if you interview him about it. And he actually still remembers, which is a really weird thing that he remembers this because out of the millions of people he's met. But so
Black
I was
Label
in the
or Dogtown or.
So this is the fucking craziest thing about it. It wasn't one of his boards. He was with Karma Tochtoff. It was Karma Tochtoff, him. And they were in a van hanging out, and Julian Stranger too. And this is the funny thing ever is it was Dogtown era, but this is the fucking comical thing about it. It was Karma Tochtoff was riding for this weird company called Shaft that was around for like 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. And it was a Shaft deck is what I got. But this is how I got it. This is the weirdest thing ever. I was in the parking lot next to Burnside doing my normal repertoire of pressure flip bullshit. And Karma comes to me, he's like, "Hey, we'll give you a deck if you do 100 pressure flips in a row," just like joking, right? He's eating a donut. His eyes are dog dick red. He looks stoned as fuck. I'm just like, whatever, dude. I'm in 8th grade. A free deck is a free deck. I'm not going to complain. And anyway, I get to 82 and then my legs cramp up. I do 82 press ups in a row. My legs cramp up. I'm on the ground like hyperventil skating, like my legs doing that twitchy, gnarly, like Charles's thing. And here comes Card. He like helps me up off the ground. He's like, "Great job, man." And he just gives me a deck. And I'm like, "Dude, I don't get the deck. I didn't get to 100. He's like, "No, fuck you. You get a deck." He gave me a fucking glazed donut and a deck. And this is the funniest story about that deck, right? So My dad thought I stole the deck from the local skate shop, Cal Skate, because my dad knew I was a little hooligan then. I mean, I've changed a lot. I was a real piece of shit when I was in middle school. My dad was so convinced I stole the deck that I didn't get it for free. And of course, there's no way, there was no Google then. There's no way in 1993 to explain to your father, there's this guy, John Cardiel, and this dude, Carmen Tashoff, that are notables in skateboarding, and they get free shit, right? So my dad calls the skate shop the next day. Howard Weiner at Cal Skate is like, hey, did my son steal a board from you? And of course, Howard's like, no, not at all. The fuck? And it was the best thing ever. So I go into the shop like a few days after that, not knowing my dad did this, by the way. And I get grip tape for the board. And Howard's like, oh, so this is the board, huh? And I tell him a story. Of course, he laughs. And of course, his staff, Rick and Ken, laugh their ass off. And they're like, yeah, your dad called to make sure you didn't steal from us. Isn't that fucking hilarious? And yeah, Card remembers that. I saw Card years ago in Vegas. And he came to me, he's like, remember I gave you free board? I'm like, I do, but I didn't think he'd remember. He actually brought it up, not me, because I thought that was a weird thing to bring up to someone I barely knew. But yeah, it was very calm. Because like, I remember giving you the deck and you were like about to pass out, and I picked you up off the floor and like you gave me a hug. And I was like, yeah, because I was like so like it was like a boxer after the 9th round. I was so like fucked that I had to like have Card hold me up. Like he literally was like my fucking steeple to hold me off the ground. And it was my first free deck that I got outside of a contest. Yeah, I mean, I had a couple boards I got out of contests before that. I got a board from Brian Lottie when I won a contest in the Dalles, Oregon, which I still have. And I got a Bod Boyle puking cat that I won at a Visalia skate camp contest. But I mean, the first free deck that I got without like being in a contest or where it was a sanctioned thing or, you know, that kind of shit, where it was just me in a parking lot dicking around. Carmen, Card were high. They wanted to see something interesting happen. And well, you know, that's what happened.
Bad shit made it famous. All hail Cardiel.
Once you heard his name, skating never be the same. Big pants, little tires. Here comes a man who starts a fire. All hail Cardiel.
All hail Cardiel. Yeah, absolutely. God bless that man's heart. I fucking love that man.
Yeah,
God bless that dude. He's fucking
one
such a
of,
great,
if not the best.
Oh, absolutely. Love that guy like a brother. I'd give him a kidney if he needed it, you know?
Do you remember what drew you to skateboarding? Like how you got your first, like how you even got into it?
It was the strangest thing ever, man. So I was feeling really bad in school. And this is before learning disabilities were, you know, I guess as common as they are, or commonly known as they are now. I mean, they were commonplace, but they weren't known what to do with them. They just called people stupid and put them in special ed. And then, you know, gave them a job flipping burgers for the rest of their lives, lived in their parents' basement. And so I was really failing really bad. I was 7 years old. I wasn't doing well in school at all. I didn't get along with any of the kids in school. I couldn't read out loud in front of class because of my dyslexia. I was ADHD as shit. I got clowned on. I was very ostracized and very, I guess you could say, isolated. And one day I was sitting on my parents' porch on 45th Street in Vancouver, and I see this dude bombing a hill. And I just thought it was the coolest feeling in the world. It was just so rad. Like, it just looked so fun. There was no handlebars involved, no steering wheel, just this dude with his hands free, just fucking carving hard as shit. Ended up being this dude, Jeff Dedmore, who was like the neighborhood hero. He was like this badass. He had a fucking Dogtown, fucking, oh my God, what was it? It was a Jesse Martinez Dogtown. And yeah, you know, it was just the fucking coolest thing ever. He was just this badass neighborhood, just motherfucker. And this other dude, Craig, and this other guy, Eric Lundy, and this other guy, Pete. I could geek out. They all hung in like this gang. They were like the movie Thrashing. You know what I mean? They bomb hills together. They built a little launcher under the call stack. They'd be bumping Misfits, playing fucking Sam Hain and shit all day. And this other guy, Matt Graycheck, who became a great musician later on in life. Anyway, I kind of like went over to them and just kind of hung out with them. And I dick around with their boards, and they were like kind of took me in. They were cool to me. They're older kids. You know, they're all like 12, 13. I was like this little 7-year-old grom, but they were totally the first time in my life that I felt warmth at all. You know, not to insult my family, but they're very academia driven, and I love them, but they were very just like in their own world. Like if he's going to fail in school, he's going to suck at life. Like we're going to have to euthanize him or something. My sister was very book smart, and I didn't have any of that. I wasn't blessed with those facilities. So, you know, I met these guys and they took me in under their wing, and they were just so cool to me. So I was pushing around on their boards, and I remember learning rock fakies on the little launch ramp, and they're like, dude, you got to get your own board. And so I asked for my birthday, for my 8th birthday, a board. I wanted a skateboard. So my older sister knew this guy at school that skated. And he said, you know, she asked him where to get a board. He was like, go to Cal Skate, you know, like they'll take care of you in 2nd and Couch Street in Portland. And so anyway, fucking, you know, my birthday comes, I open up a gift, and guess what? It's a Tom Gralski Vision with some indies on it. I got some slime ball wheels, some fucking OG conical ones, and some NMB bearings. And I babied that thing. I took it with me everywhere. I would like take it on road trips. I take it camping, even though there's a patch of concrete. That was my baby, bro. I razor tailed. I take it to school and hide it in the locker. I would skate to school. I would the teachers would just be weirded out by me and that thing. And the other kids, it was like I was like Limus in his blanket, man. And, it really was, man. I was totally just like that. Like I wouldn't let out my sight. I'd go to sleepovers at friends' houses. I'd make sure it wasn't too far from me on the couch, like OCD status, just me and that fucking Tom Grahalski, the robot on the bottom, the vision of the robot, like rah. And I just, I fell in love with skateboarding right then. I met other people that were my age at skate. I met this guy, John Pick, and this dude, David Pauly. They were outside of my school, but, I knew them. They were in the same neighborhood. So we'd go to their house and, Animal Chin, just came out not long before that. I'm trying, I watched Future Primitive. Obviously, Shackle Me Not was like mind blowing. Jeff Pettit, Ray Simmons. My God, Ray Simmons, holy shit. Ray Simmons, Jeff Pettit, mind blown. I just remember sitting there. We were in John's house. We'd study everything that knee tuck over the ladder. We would watch that thing. Like we would analyze that like a goddamn scientist analyzes antibodies in a vaccine. We were just like, holy fuck, how? Yep. Like he doesn't know shit. He knocked his head on the front side. Like, we would like quote that. We would walk around quoting that. Like we would walk around like quoting that, and then later on Hocus Pocus, like it's $1 on a platter. Like, like we just like that's how we'd meet up like at skate down the street. It's $1 on a platter, like whatever with throwing whatever, like Tony Mag was there catching real high air, you know what I mean? Like we just be throwing out all this shit, like, fucking,
that became your banter, right?
Literally. It was like, we didn't speak English anymore. It was fucking comical. It was such a beautiful time and such a beautiful place. And just
come up to people and go, Ray Simmons.
Exactly. Literally. Page Mill forever. Monahan. Yeah, literally just Ray Simmons. You just roll on people and they would get it. You'd get it. We'd laugh. We all emulated those dudes. We wanted to be Jeff Pettit. We wanted to be Ray Simmons. We wanted to be Hensley. We wanted to be Ron Allen was my favorite personally. I wanted to be Ron Allen. I wanted to airwalk boardside of fucking handrail.
Hello, it's George. I'm Ron Allen's manager.
Ron Allen was like literally my favorite. Another guy I met at Burnside. I remember my jaw dropped and I couldn't talk. My first girlfriend at the time, this chick, Annie Nicholson, she was just like, what's wrong with you? Because we'd go there all the time and hang out and, bullshit. I was a freshman in high school and I was kind of a cool guy at this point or whatever bullshit, egotistical 14-year-old maniac shit that was going on. And I brought her to Burnside and we're skating, just doing our thing, Choppy shredding and Josh Falk shredding. And all of a sudden we're sitting on the elbow and here comes Ron Allen. And I'm just like, holy fuck, it's Ron Allen. Like, fuck, I didn't know. I was like, she's like, what's wrong with you? I was like, I looked like I had like, cerebral palsy or something. But yeah, Ron fucking Allen, dude.
Shout out.
Legend, man. And so that's how I fell in love with skateboarding.
I talked to Ron for like 3 hours for a podcast. And,
hell yeah.
And at the end, I was like, dude, we got to do part 2, 3, and 4. Cause like, I felt like 3 hours is a long time, but I barely he has so much more. The dude's legend. Yeah. He made a little graphic for me. I'm going to make t-shirts. He did some artwork for me. So I'm hyped on that.
Always been a fan of him, man. Always, dude, huge. Those Jeff Clint graphics, his graphics, such an envelope pusher. You know what I mean? Him and Alfonso Rawls were like my two favorite dudes on 8th Street, hands down. Don't get me wrong, Hensley and all those cats were great too. But fuck, man, those dudes. I just amazed by those guys that can skate anything so well and so fluently and look so smooth while doing it. It looks so effortlessly and smiling too. Those dudes were just happy. You know what I mean? Like, and there's nothing wrong with someone having that negative energy in skating. We all have it, but it's, some people watch their footage, you can just tell they're pissed. Like they're going after that trick. Like it's literally like, they're going to cut the green wire and the bomb's not going to go off, but then there's those users, you can tell they're still having fun like they were as a little kid with it. It's not like this homework assignment. It's more of a, like, this is what I live for. I'm going to airwalk boardside this handrail. Like in Risk It, Ron Allen's like, dude, you got to go to school and be educated. Like, fuck you, man. Like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean a really funky day? You know what I mean? Like, I just love that. Like his attitude, his philosophy was like this. I had a lot more kinship with him, with his ethos of skating than I did with, I don't know, Arcadoy, not to insult Arcadoy or like any of those dudes, they were great. But you know what I mean? Like in that era of time, I guess, in that timeline of skateboarding, I definitely, I could relate to him or Alfonso. I liked Alfonso's political speak. I really dug, Alfonso, in my humble opinion, skateboarding, at least being like a little kid, a 9-year-old kid, having him bring up, subject matter like race and marginalized things and all that jazz at that point in time. It was gutsy and awesome and rad that he did that. I mean, he really didn't give a fuck. Like he was going to use that song in Hocus Pocus no matter what. And he had his little voice over the intro, and it was a mind-opening thing and biasness that I saw around me. Obviously,
and so well-rounded. Like, dude was a gnarly transition skater. Like everything. I know,
right? Everything. 540 tail grabs, but then you'd no side tail grab a handrail. Then you'd only front foot impossible down some shit, and you'd kickflip front board, a fucking ledge. Like you said, all of it in one day. He'd kickflip manual, and fucking these boots are made for walking. He'd fucking do a no slide tail slide 300 years before, Emmerich Pratt or Patrick Melcher did. You know what I mean? Like, or whatever, insert, dudes that did it. Of course, Marcus Wangham and those guys are doing it, Ocean Hal too. But you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure there's going to be someone's going to argue with this on there. They'll be like, oh no, Marcus Wangham or Ocean Hal. Whatever, same category, same time frame, whatever. I'm sure someone's going to call me on who the first was. But at the same time, Alfonso, always the most humble guy I ever met too. So down to earth. He actually gave me a lift back to my car after a trade show once. And I barely knew the guy. I talked to him maybe a handful of times before that at a skate camp, and then a couple other times, when I became a person of note in skateboarding. But we're at the Crossroads trade show at Black Box, and I'm leaving, and of course cars are parked for like a million miles in Carlsbad, Deathland, like suburbia, fuck hellhole. My car was like, I don't even know, like 2 miles away. And I'm trying to push up this hill, and all of a sudden this little silver BMW pulls like, hey, you want to lift? I'm like, it's Alfonso Rose. Of course I want to lift. I get in there, I'm trying to not check your grip tape. His like beautiful interior. He's got this nice leather and wood shit. I'm like this sweaty mess. Like shit. I'm like, I'm rolling with Alfonso. Like, holy fuck, my childhood here. He drives me in a car. Like, oh my fucking God. Like, again, fanboy shit. Of course, in my head, I played it cool. Like, thanks, Alf. Like, yeah, man, cool. Good to see you, man. But out in my head, I was like, holy fuck, it's Alfonso, like the greatest skater of all times. Like, it'd be like if some like Golden Gloves boxer met Muhammad Ali and he gave him up to his car. You know what I mean? It would have been like if I was just like some dude sparring away in the Golden Gloves ranks, and all of a sudden the world champion heavyweight pulled up in a BMW. He was like, hey, you want to lift? I was just like, yes. Like, holy fuck. Like, you're Alfonso Roz, barely knew me. I was a stranger to him. I mean, he did say, I saw your 4-in-1 part in that ride. He's like, I saw your 4 part. I liked that. I was kind of like, oh, really cool. But, it wasn't like we knew each other on we weren't tight or anything. And again, I that was one of the most beautiful things about moving to California is being able to meet all my heroes and hang with them and just, I tried my best to keep my composure, but there was a lot of times like that where I was like giddy, like a little, 12-year-old schoolgirl.
So sick. What was your first sponsor? How did you get like into kind of like being more than just a skate rat that you got into the industry?
That's a really good question, man. So when I was a kid, there was this thing, OASA, Oregon Amateur Skateboarding Association. Matt Beach's parents ran it. Yep. So Matt Beach's parents,
Matt Beach.
Fuck yeah, shout out Matt Beach, man.
Shout out.
Yeah, man. Matt motherfucking Beach, dude. Great dude. Used to skate his mini ramp with him all the time, hang with him. We were totally opposite.
Skateboarder.
Oh, incredible skateboarder, man. Like great dude. His parents did a great job around OASA. So the Oregon Amateur Skateboarding Association had like your ranks, your beginner, intermediate, advanced, your shop sponsor, then your factory sponsor, which like Matt, Jamie Fortune, Dave Hupp, Josh Beaudry, all those guys were in the factory sponsor division, Carl Hubble. I mean, all those dudes that were coming up at that time, riding for, various companies, varying from Think to GNS to whatever, Suburban Skateboards at Seattle, Buddy that made all those 16 millimeter videos later on.
Buddy Nichols.
Buddy Nichols, thank you. Fuck, I was like, help me out. I almost said Betty. I almost
Betty
said Buddy.
Crocker.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, fuck, dude, I forgot his last name because I knew it was change. Like I was like pennies, dimes, no, nickels. Yeah. And so like, there was all that shit going on. And so I kept climbing the ranks. Like I kept on winning. I won the beginner, and then they bumped me to intermediate. Then I got bumped to advanced. Next thing I know, they were like, there's nowhere for you to go except advanced. And I went to Cal Skate, and Howard's like, man, like I seen this shit in the back of, because the mags used to print out like the, little like listings of how you did. Yeah. Like there was like one, like a local request mag, but then like Trans Rule, and I don't know if Thrasher did too, but there's like little like local regional contests, and they do the little thing. Yeah. And Howard's like, you're doing pretty good in the advance. I'm like, yeah. He's like, and I keep bringing in shit to put together that I won in the contest, wheels, bearings, whatever. Right. He's like, dude, you want to be sponsored? I was like, fuck yeah. So I wrote for Cal Skate as my first sponsor. Still rep them when I can. I love Cal Skate. They were my first sponsor. Yeah, they did a lot for me. Rick Howard. I mean, fucking my God, I'm lit. Fucking Howard, not Rick Howard. Jesus Christ. Wow, I had 2 beers before I started this because I was a little nervous. Whoa, slow it down. Howard Weiner. Howard Weiner, like I said, 2 minutes win, gave me a 25% discount and would hook me up the free stuff when he could afford it. And so I just kept doing the contest. I was in the shop division. And then it was really fucking weird. Then I was at this, fast forward a million years, I was in high school. I was like a junior. I want to say a junior. I was in high school, and this guy approached me at this regional contest, Sound and the Fury, that was put on by Marshall Stack Reed. And anyway, up in Seattle, Washington, and I got fucking third. I didn't get number 1. I don't even remember who the fuck. I think Ben Butler won it. And anyway, long story short, I got third. And this dude comes to me, he's like, "Hey, you want to write for my board company? It's called O3." And I didn't know what the fuck O3 was. It was weird. This guy was a corporate dude at Zoomies of all places. But he had this side project called O3, which was only carried exclusively through Zoomies. So I felt like I betrayed my, my local shop sponsor. Of course, being that age, you don't really think about economics that way. You just think, free decks. So he's giving me free decks, and they would reimburse me for gas and shit, or give me, they'd take us on rides in local contests. I remember going down to a castle contest in Redwood City, and I got second, and Castleberry got first. And then that was my and so I meet up with this dude, Big Mike, at Redwood City. And he was like the team manager of Vision. And he was there just bullshitting. He was at Skateworks. I believe it was Skateworks in Redwood City.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was Skateworks.
That's true.
And Ron Whaley was there, and all these fucking dudes were there. And I just
Colt
did this to myself. Yep. Colt Cannon was there killing it. Fuck yeah. Colt Cannon was ripping. I mean, everyone was ripping, dude. Fucking Caswell was doing these insane nose grinds and these melon grabs off the top of this big bank to death thing. And I tried to emulate that. I broke my board my second round trying to copy his ass. I didn't come in my
Caswell had his hair in a ponytail back then.
Yeah. Literally, yep. Ponytail as fuck. Renaissance dude, you know what I mean? Like fucking Renaissance skateboards as fuck. I'm sitting there riding for this weird Seattle company 03, which is out of the Zoomies camp. And I got second somehow. I don't know how the fuck I got second. I was just doing my normal pressure flip shit and just trying to, do some creative stuff out there. And I think Ron Way was one of the judges. I can't remember, but he was there, and I don't remember. I think Ears was one of the judges. Justin Williams. Fucking thank you. And, I'm in Redwood City, just living the dream. I'm like having fun. I'm in the mecca of skateboarding, and I'm just happy to be, anywhere other than the Northwest where it was raining. And I got second, and this dude, Big Mike, comes up to me from Vision. He's like, "Hey, who are you riding from?" I'm like, "Oh, this company I Seattle 03. And they're like, "What do you do? What do they do for you?" I'm like, "Well, they reimburse me for gas. Sometimes they pay my lodging. Sometimes they just, give me a certain amount for lodging." And he's like, "What else do they do for?" I'm like, "They give me 2 boards a month." He's like, "Give me a call. Here's my card. I want to do more for you than that." Next thing I know, I'm making $500 a month. I'm getting boards from Vision. Really burnt my bridge with the Zoomies people. Whatever, fuck them. I really like the guy that was the team manager guy there. His name was Michael something, but everyone else in that corporation was just, we didn't click. They were dicks. They were very condescending, very cutthroat. I had to do it. I remember going to Mount Hood, Timberline, to this like weird snowboard / skate contest thing. And the guy that ran Zoomies, I forgot his name, like Jeremy or whatever, had this like keynote speech where he's like, "We're a clothing store that markets ourselves as a skate shop. We need to be involved with youth culture." It was like this very blatant, like kind of brainwashing of, "We are here to sell you only clothes. We don't care about skateboarding at all." And that I remember that hit me very hard. So I called Mike, obviously. And I next thing I know, I'm on Vision. and that was obviously after Vision was cool. So I didn't realize, I didn't understand the cadence with Gons and Blind and all that at that point. I was just a young kid that was stoked that I was getting, money and a skateboard, and, I was getting to do what I loved. I had no idea the scar tissue that Vision laid. I remember shooting an ad with John Humphreys, like this 50-50 on this like crazy outlet. And he's like, "You cannot use my name on the photo. Don't tell Vision you're using it, because I cannot be affiliated with Vision. It will fucking ruin my street cred." Like he was like so elitist, like, "Fuck you. Like I will shoot you because you're my friend. And I know you because we grew up in Vancouver, Washington together, but do not you dare fucking tell him, put my name in the caption. It'll fucking ruin my career." And I was like, "Okay. All right." I didn't realize how much of a scarlet letter Vision was.
Who was on the squad at the time? Billy Joe Yarbrough?
Yeah. Billy Joe Yarbrough. Yeah. I mean, Billy Joe, fuck dude. I love that guy. We shared hotels. Me and him, Ben Butler, Rich Cooley was on there. Donovan Destry. This guy, Jamie Smith, who was from fucking Memphis. He was like the funniest guy ever. Had a southern accent draw, had the best front blunt saw down handrails. First time I ever heard someone that talked like this, literally not as like a joke, but like, "Hey y'all, we're going to go to the Long Beach down rail. You guys want to go front blunt it with me? I'm going to go skate this thing." And me and him couch surf all over Southern California together, like broke as fuck, like in sleeping bags, sleeping in Norwalk and Compton shit, like just random skate houses. We would go skate and we drink Dominic oranges. We get the flu together. Like we fucking were Eskimo brothers with chicks. I could go on, bro. Like honestly, me and Jamie Smith had so much fucking fun together in those days. Like I actually have no idea how we didn't die of AIDS or fucking like, botulism or cirrhosis of the liver, because that motherfucker was awesome. Like he would drive my car when I was drunk. I would drive him around when he was drunk. We would go to nudie bars. I mean, it was fucking like he snuck me into no, I just turned 18, so I could get in. It was like one of those weird things where like he got me in. It was an 18 over, but there was like the booze, but like I wasn't supposed to drink, but he got me a beer and like they didn't check. Anyway, whatever. Either way, he was awesome. He did some Jedi mind trick shit to the bouncers, and I got to see boobs and drink beer at 18 with this crazy older ripper. But yeah, Billy Joe Yarbrough was on, and oh god, those guys, I love those. Pure Luke Gagnon was on. Me and Pure Luke went to, like, fuck, dude, we hung out at like Invert 2000 later on, and oh god, there's so many stories. Went to fucking Mexico. Went to Tijuana, and they put shots in our mouths and shook us around and shit. And yeah, Pure Luke was rad. French skin. So I'm here. It was really funny hearing like the Southern draw. Like I really got to hear the linguistics then. And I actually fell in love with the linguistics because I got this guy, the Southern draw over here. Then I got the French Canadian. I say, hello, I am Bello Gagon. I'm going to go get the Vautrin. Aha, I like the tequila. What do you mean? So I got Peppy the Pew over here and I got like Quick Draw McGraw. I got like fucking, Foghorn Leghorn over here. Yeah. It was like, and then there's me at the Northwest accent. Yeah, exactly. And I'm like the normal, boring, not normal, but boring Northwest guy with the, typical like suburban, like, hello guys, how are you doing? My name is Nick. I like to ride a skateboard. So yeah, it was a fucking rad time. Vision was, it was such a weird time, man. Vision was crazy. And then I went from Vision to Capital Skateboards. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was wondering, like, while you were on Vision, did it sink in that Vision was Vision, or did you not figure that out till after?
Not until John Humphreys told me I couldn't use his name. There was a Thrasher and they ran the ad and everything. I was like, why? He's like, dude, you don't know what they did to people. And then he explained the whole like history of Gons and Blind. Of course, I skated in those days. I even had the Blind board where they're making fun of Powell, but I didn't put together the history of it, and I didn't, and he kind of schooled me on all that. And then of course, once I got more in the industry, there's people like, oh, does Brad Dorfman owe you money? Like they had like stickers that said, does Brad Dorfman owe you money? Like Orange County dudes are always like weird vibing. You dick. I remember being in like, where was I? I was at the Huntington Beach skate park, the old one, the Ed Templeton one, the little tiny pyramid and the little tiny flat bars, and, the fun all over and shit. Yeah, the Tom Penny spot. Yeah, so I'm skating there. And I'm riding a Vision board. I got all my Vision gear. I'm like a total NASCAR poster boy for him. I got the hat, the shirt, and I'm Vision streetwear. It's like, this is like 1998, but I'm dressed like it's 1988, right? And I'm riding my fucking board, and I'm like, I'm thinking I'm pretty cool. And like some dude, I don't remember his name, but he's just like, oh man, smoking cigarette. Does Brad Dorfman owe you money? I'm like, not. I don't think so. Like what? He's like, watch out, be careful. And sure enough, like Brad did start fucking people over. Like we'd send him receipts, and he'd claim he never got them. He reimbursed us and started doing all this shady stuff. And then this guy, Jamie Owens, that bought Capital pretty much out from like Brian Toosey and Andy Stone and them, like hit me up to ride for him. It was me, Cooper Wilt, and it was a bunch of other dudes, Rod Marks and all these other guys basically fled the coop at our sponsors to go kind of revamp Capital and Nicotine Wheels. And needless to say, Pepe Martiz was not too happy with that. Again, I'm on another fucking sinking ship. I'm at a trade show. Pepe Martiz wants to kick my ass. I didn't realize, again, there was a beef with that. This guy, Jimmy Owens, that bought it, was a nice guy. He was good to me. He was good to my riders, but I guess there was like some weird, East Coast thing going on with those guys, not liking West Coast guys on the team, and some, some Arrested Development issues. But it was fun while it lasted. I really enjoyed riding for Capital. I was actually riding for Capital 9/11 happened, which was weird. This guy that worked in the warehouse. Yeah, this guy, Gilly, that worked in the warehouse, who was like my contact there when I needed more supplies or my check or whatever. He freaking, in case things, because I changed addresses all the time back then. I was couch surfing. Literally, I didn't even have an address. I had like a P.O. box once in a while. I was very like gypsy living. But like he was skating. This is how I know the fucking Pentagon thing happened, because Gilly saw the fucking plane going to the Pentagon.
Is that real?
He literally was fucking skating to work, and he was going to go, get the warehouse going and everything. And he was like I just remember talking to him 2 days after, how you doing? And his persona changed on the phone right away. And he was just like, dude, I don't even know how to talk about it. He's like, what I saw was just horrifying. Like, he's like, it's fucking me up. And like, he soon quit after that. And I know he had some psychological issues and PTSD after that. I mean, he literally saw the plane hit the Pentagon. So yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, it was an interesting time riding for those guys during that. Riding for a company out of Washington, D.C. during 9/11 was, the dichotomy of that was so strange. Such a different field than your Santa Ana, Orange County spoiled bleach blonde, like, dude, bro, like, like that kind of scene, everyone fucking looked at, they walked out of, fucking Ridgemont High. And
all I need are some tasty waves, cool buzz, and I'm fine.
I'm dealing with some salt of the earth motherfuckers, so that was an interesting eye opener.
When was the pressure flip? That was before that, right? Your first pressure flip.
So
how are you drawn to that? What did you see Rodney do it, or how did you know?
Cool. It was actually Chris Fissel I saw do it. He was the first guy I saw. Yeah, Chris Fissel, New Deal dude.
Shout out.
Chris Fissel was like a local Portland dude. He'd be at Burnside once in a while. And it was kind of funny because I was affiliated with the Cal Skate guys, and he was affiliated with the pharmacy guys. And at that time, it's not like this anymore. At that time, there was this very divergent path. Everyone that was kind of more in the Hesh level, that was either agnostic or atheist, would ride, be a part of Cal Skate or part of, that or Rebel Skates too. And then everyone that was like into skate church and very Bible oriented, Matt Beach and Chris Fissel were all part of their like Bible study group where they had this like indoor skate park skate church, which I had nothing against. but there was like this weird, there wasn't much cross-pollination there for some sad reason. There was a lot of tribalism going on, which I don't agree with by any way. It's just, it's just a fact of what was happening. I don't think this was good. It was just, I'm just stating the facts. Yeah. And so I met Chris Bissell only a couple of times because I wouldn't go to skate church because they wouldn't let me in because you had to be 16 or have like a parent and guardian sign for you and stuff. And so when I hung with him a couple of times, it was 7th grade. I had I had a big old giant, I want to say I was skating the Neil Hendricks New Deal board was what I was skating. And so, of course he rode for New Deal and I was all stoked. And, and he was scooping pressure flips. And I was like, those look fun. And so I started doing pressure flips with him. He kind of, gave me a couple pointers. Next thing I'm pulling, we're skating the Holiday School in Portland, which is a very notable spot. It's the place with those blue handrails. Everyone skates down the banks. And there's also these like fun asphalt banks in the back, but it's near Crest. And there's a couple of like kind of legendary. They're like our E and B, our Pier 7, right? Yeah. And so Chris Bissell teaches me pressure flips. And that next summer, I tear a ligament in the top of my foot, on my flick foot. Like I literally tear this ligament in half. And, anyway, long story short, I had all the scar tissue build. Physical therapy wasn't like it is now. Surgery wasn't like it is now. I mean, now doctors are magic. They fix people. I mean, look at Jamie Thomas, right? Danny Way, they're still skating because surgeons actually understand that, you want to get out there and do something physical. Back then, they're just like, oh, he just wants to walk again and go to school, right?
Right.
And so my foot kind of became what they call a flat foot. I don't have much flick control of my front foot very well. Like it's very it's not as agile as it was ever. It never will be. I have a huge bump in my foot, which I can take a picture and show you. And so I realized I had pressure flips on lock still because, it's all in the back foot, that scooping mechanism instead of a flicking mechanism. And so I just started kind of innovating on them. I was like, well, okay, I used to do tray flips. I can't do those anymore. Let's try a tray pressure flip. I used to do big spin flips. Let's try a big spin pressure flip. I used to do, laser heels. Let's try laser pressure flip. So I just I would take a derivative of everything I could once do with my front foot. And I just kind of molded it into the pressure version of it because I needed to kind of keep my sanity. It was kind of my way of, instead of burying my baby, trying to keep it alive and going, and keeping my love for skateboarding alive. And so I just adapted and overcame. I was just like how the handicapped people do, where they have no legs, but they're doing finger flip nose grinds down giant handrails or flying into the shunks at a car wash, or, it was the same kind of attributes as someone in the, now who's blind or is deaf or, insert, issues, whatever handicap they have. I just kind of adapted and overcame. And so the pressure flips, was this crazy godsend in another way. I mean, it was just, it helped me stay in skating and keep my sanity through, my high school years. And then it became my niche thing. And then I don't know what it was. It snowballed. It was kind of like that one hit wonder band thing where, oh, we wrote a song like, unbelievable. Okay, EMF, let's write something else like that. So then you write 30 albums like that. And then, you go out and you phase out or whatever, but it was, you know what I mean? Like, Like I had my little hill climb and then boom, I crashed like a fucking board of bricks, but it was a lot of fun. Like, being in Portland, such a small community skateboarding that you'd be just skating down the street. I remember just skating down fucking Broadway or like skating down 21st and Burnside, etc., Hawthorne, Belmont, whatever. People just yell at their car, pressure flip king, and you're just like, yeah. I was PFK, I was pressure flip king. I went from noodle to pressure flip king. Burnside guys always called me noodle. Fucking people didn't know me very well, called me pressure flip king, and it was just this funny thing. So I kind of jumped into that scenario and just went with it and ran with it, That's how the pressure flips, I guess you could say, kind of took off. And they were invented by some guy in 1985, some freestyler guy, which I didn't know till recently. But I always thought Chris Bissell invented them. And then some crazy dude, like a super nerd. It
wasn't Rodney Mullen?
And isn't that funny? It wasn't Rodney Mullen. You could Google this guy, Rad Rat Video, did a whole dissertation on it. And it wasn't Mullen. Mullen even will admit this interview he didn't invent it. It was this guy, and I can't remember his name. It wasn't Daryl Grogan. It wasn't like Pure Andre. It wasn't one of the notables. It wasn't Kevin Harris. It was like not Yo-Yo Schultz. It was like one of those freestyle guys that like, I hate to say this, I never heard of. If it was one of the ones I heard of, like Primo Designario, or I mean, we could go on. There's a million.
Ray Meyer.
Yeah, Ray Meyer.
Wellender.
God, Per Wellender.
Don Brown. It was Don Brown.
He went on to start a shoe empire. Yeah, I mean, and I can't think about it verbatim. I'm sure you could run a ticker tape across the bottom that says who it was. But I always thought it was Chris Bissell. For 3 decades, I thought Chris Bissell on the apprentice trip, and I would tell everyone he invented it, and that's who taught me. And so for 3 decades, I would go around preaching the gospel that fucking Chris Bissell invented the pressure flip, even though I was wrong until this Rad Rat Video guy came out and like found some obscure fucking dude from Sweden that did it in 1985. Right. In some farmland. And then of course they found like this really glitchy footage. I mean, it's true. I mean, and I bowed down and I realized I was wrong, but it's one of those things where, if you're Robert Plant, you're playing guitar and someone says, who invented the blues? And you're like, oh, Robert Johnson. Someone's like, no, actually I went to the Smithsonian archive. I found this guy had a bottleneck in the Delta of the blues. He was, the Delta playing the blues in 1850. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things. where you're like, well, I'm sorry. I thought it was Robert. To me, it's Robert Johnson because I met the guy and he taught me how to play slide guitar. He taught me the blues, but I'm sure there was someone that predated that, you know, and I guess that's probably the best analogy for me. I've always viewed skateboarding as a performance art that masquerades as a sport, you know? And so that's why I use these analogies with music and other things so much, because I realized there has to be that sport aspect of it, because skate shops need to sell things, clothing brands and shoes and all these hard goods need to spell to like the typical type A personality parents that are like jocked out, that are like, yeah, you know, they have these stage parents, but I look at it more like interpretive dance or ballet or sculpting or painting. And you see it all the time. I mean, how many pro skateboarders do you see when they start becoming phased out of skateboarding, they become musicians or they become painters or sculptors or writers or whatever, you know, they dab into poetry, they dab into this, they dab into that. You know, there's guys like Eli Reed that go into fucking dance, for Christ's sakes, you know? So I always felt that way about it. And so that's why I always use those analogies like the blues or guitar or this or that, because I feel like there's more simulations between that and there are, as, you know, saying, okay, this guy ran a 100-yard touchdown or whatever, this guy did a 3-point, you know, it's too hard to judge, you know, to you know, micro chamber it into something as a sport. I feel like it's too broad.
Well, what are your feelings on it entering the 2020, but in parentheses 2021 Tokyo Games?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's great. As a skate shop owner, I love it because every day I get parents coming like, did you know it's Olympics? I'm like, it is. And they're like, okay, what's the best board in there? I'm like, that one. You want yourself a VX construction board. Your kids, if they're not going to be pro if they don't have some Thunders or Indies under them. Your kid's going to suck if they're not riding Spitfires or like, you know, some high-end bearings, some Swiss bearings or some Bronsons, you know. So like as a skate shop owner, I fucking love it. And as a community in skating where like when I first moved here 9 years ago, you'd still like get dudes yelling out the window, like just weird negative shit, like fuck off or whatever as a skateboarder. I think it's great for those people. But as an artist, as someone that I guess I'm just going to come out and say considers it an art form.
I skateboard, but I'm an artist. I love art and I love you.
There's a certain attribute of it strangling, like I said before. It's a performance art that masquerades as a sport. So it masquerades as a sport. It pretends to be a sport. It masquerades as this, but it's actually a fucking performance art. And it's like ballet, right? There's ballet competitions. You have a daughter, like, or whatever, like you take her to these ballet contests. But really, when they get to the pro leagues of it, when they become a principal dancer, like let's say Ashley Bowder or Tyler Peck or one of them, Sarah Mearns, they're not in competition anymore. They're performing these art pieces on stage, you know, the Nutcracker, Black Swan, whatever, right? And they're not really in a contest with each other anymore. They all have their strong points, their weak points. They all perform a different role as a character on that stage. Right. And I think that's what skateboarding is. I think it's more of like, you know, Lexus LeBone skates completely different than, you know, Pamela Rosa and, you know, frickin' I Could Geek Out Forever, you know, Leo Baker skates completely different than, you know, whatever. So, and we could do that with the males too. I just went from female ballet to that because it would be an easier, you know.
Well, it's like gymnastics. Like, it's like, that's what I was talking to somebody about. I was like, they're like, what are your views on it? I'm like, well, imagine if it was a downhill contest, you have a clear winner. Right. I like that. Or like the high jump or whatever, there's a clear winner. But when it's judged by people, then how do you judge Raven's nose grind versus like Nija's nose grind? Right? Exactly. And it's like they're very different.
Very different.
And they're probably both amazing. So,
absolutely.
So to me, it's kind of like I was laughing because I was like, watch. Once they figure all this out, they're going to start making skaters do kind of like gymnastics. Like you have to do a Smith grind to 50-50 on the first wall. The second wall has got to be kickflip back lip. And you have to like go over the channel 3 times. It's like, fuck you, dude. Just do a downhill contest and fucking have it over with.
Are you out of your mind?
I was talking to my fiance last night and she's like really into the, Summer Olympics. I was like, no, it's about the Winter Olympics because the luge, the bobsled, all the fucking hairball shit. You know?
Fuck yeah.
And they're clear winners. Like the guy, 5 seconds is faster than 6 seconds. Done. But but like on the podium, when you see the gold medalist and you're like, but did they win?
You'll be a Richard Simmons lookalike.
Like that's gonna suck.
Yeah, and the thing that bugs me mostly about the Olympics and skateboarding, and like what you said, it's beautiful because like in curling or in luge or bobsled, you see a clear winner. Okay, this person got in the circle the best or whatever. But in professional skateboarding, like you said, it's a performance art that masquerades as a sport, and you know it's all interpretive. So the thing that really pisses me off the most about the Olympics, just like you, is the fact that there's this thing where it has to be the interpretation of the judge and what they think is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's kind of rigged. It's kind of biased. I'm probably gonna get blackballed from the industry and like assassinated tomorrow for this. But a lot of these people that are judging the contest are all people that are independent contractors that work for companies like Nike and Adidas. And so it's weird. It's like, okay, I can work for Adidas as an independent contractor all day, have an office, have a house I bought, live in North Portland, but yet I can go judge people in the Olympics. It seems like there's this, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, are you going to talk up the guys that ride for your team? Are you going to give them extra points or women that ride for the 3-stripe or ride for the swoosh? And that kind of scares me. I feel like anytime you leave any chamber of corruption that's open, it will happen no matter what, even if it's subconsciously, even if these people that I'm talking about are subconsciously doing it just because they're exposed to that marketing so much in their office, in their cubicle every day. They're sitting in Beaverton, Oregon. They're sitting in Northeast Portland on a rainy fucking day because it's 9 months a year. It just fucking rains there. I know for a fact. Yeah. And they're just sitting there all they are is brainwashed by watching their team riders. Of course, when they see their team rider do a trick, like you said, the Nyjah thing versus, Raven thing, of course, they're gonna go towards whoever rides for their team versus the later, and that's what's gonna happen, and that there will be biasness, and I don't think there should be biasness in the Olympics. I feel like obviously, fucking when Jesse Owens rose his fist in Germany against Nazis, there was no biasness. Those were clear and present judges saying no, he won the track meet. We don't care if he's African American. We're in some fucking Nazi fucking Aryan bullshit country. That's what happens. So I look at the Olympics as this great social changer. And I think that it can be corrupted very easily when you start hiring people that are independent contractors, but work full time at those businesses. So there should be more regulations on the judging, I feel like.
You better leave this shit in here. Don't be this is negative or not. This is life.
Because skateboarding is so interpretive, it's already going to look rigged regardless, but you're going to have less windows and faults of that way if you limit the people that actually work at Adidas or Nike or work for like me. I work for Eduskate. I can't go judge a local contest because guess what? My team riders are going to be like, yeah, Adam Miller, yeah, fucking, Dallas Keemstra, yeah, Peyton Myers. These are all guys that, I consider my team riders. If I wouldn't judge, of course, I'm going to hype them up, even if I'm not thinking about it subconsciously over the million people that are skating. So I don't judge contests. People are like, who judges them? Like, I'm not judging. I'll just announce. I'll hang out. I'll throw money at it. I'll throw, gift cards. But if I judge, it's going to be fucking biased,
Yeah. That's why I like the Buster Bale formula for contests. Right. Just like the overall impression, like, no, Chris Cole blizzard flipped Wallenberg, end of story. Mm-hmm. Like, whatever it is. Story.
Yeah. John, you want a blizzard flip fucking Carlsbad? Step up, motherfucker. I was there when you blizzard flipped Carlsbad, by the way. Is that crazy?
Damn. Really?
I was there that day. Is that weird? I
knew that somehow.
Oh no, yeah. It was a crazy day. So I was team manager of this clothing company out of Huntington Beach called Factory 54 Clothing. It was a surf wetsuit company, but the two surfer bros, Todd and I shit you not, it was Todd and Ted were the owners. They hit me up to basically, I saw them at a trade show and they're like, we need a team manager for our skate division. We don't know shit about skating. Uh-huh. So they paid me $500 a month to basically like look at demo reels all day and to, make sure people are up to par to ride for us and, basically be the babysitter and drive around in a van and like take people to skate spots and film them. And long story short, we go to Carlsbad. It was the Brunner twins. I was taking them there that day to go film because they wanted to skate the Carlsbad Gap. Those two little blonde dudes.
Yeah.
And their dad, me, them, and this other kid. Fuck, what was his name? Greg and this other kid. I can't remember, Taylor Orks or something. And we're all cruising. We get to fucking Carlsbad and come around the corner. Guess who's fucking trying to blizzard flip Carlsbad?
What's up?
There's, Matt Winterberg on the roof filming. Fucking Lee DuPont's filming. All these fucking total media frenzy. Just one skater and a million cameras. And I'm like, holy shit. And one of the Brunner friends, I think it was Chris. I can't remember if it was Pierce or Chris, or like, I want to go skate it right now. I'm like, dude, no, like, back, like, chill the fuck out. Like, let this man do his thing, like, right. Are you seeing what he's trying? And like, fucking, I don't know, 35, 40 minutes later, homeboy pulls it, snaps his tail, rolls away. I give him a big hip hop hug, and then, we start skating the gap and they pack up and bail. But yeah, isn't that funny? I was there when he did that. Yeah, me and Chris, awesome. We have this, we're twins, man. We have the same birthday and shit. I'm just a few years older than him. I was born, oh no, wait, he's March. Actually, no, I thought he was March 9th. He's March 10th. Sorry, I'm March 9th of 79. He's March 10th of 80 something. But like we went over that once. We're on a paddle boat. Zero came out here for like autograph signing. And I took him to the lake. And we're paddle boating around. I don't know how it came up. I was talking about buying beer in my ID. And he's like, yeah, don't you love it when someone doesn't ID you, but they just ask for your age? I'm like, yeah, March 9th. He's like, March 9th, get the fuck out of here. I'm March 10th. I was like, no shit. We're just paddle boating around, me, him, and Kyle Frederick and my wife are paddling around a paddle boat, just drunk and bullshitting. But yeah, it's really funny. Like, yeah, me and Chris have a lot of respect for each other. He's a great dude.
Fuck yeah. full skate rat. Hey, let's talk about the PE coach problem. You sent me a little note on this. I don't know anything about it, but
no
when you were younger, in school, right?
Yeah. So
you're deaf in one ear.
Yep. Completely deaf in one ear, man. Completely
right
deaf in
ear
my
or left ear?
Right ear. Yeah. Anyone sits on the right side of me, I can't hear him. A lot of people think I'm an asshole, but I'm completely, the microphone is unplugged over there, man. I had bleeding on my brain. So I had technically brain damage. And what happened I guess I'll just start from the top of the story because this can make no sense. But so when I was 14, I was sent away. I was fucking up in school, like I said, due to my learning disabilities. And my parents sent me away to this place, Thomas Edison High School in Beaverton, Oregon, not too far from the Nike campus, ironically, or coincidentally. And anyway, Thomas Edison High School is kind of a derivative of Jesuit high school. It's like a private school or whatever, you pay tuition, etc. And they specialize in basically dealing with people that are like autistic or learn disabled, ADHD, whatever, Tourette syndrome, all of the above. And anyway, it was really interesting. Like, I go to the school and I actually kind of was stoked going to that school, before what happened, because I got to meet other people that were like me. I didn't feel so outcast anymore. I met other people that had learning disabilities, and I got to befriend them. And it was like I finally found a tribe outside of skateboarding that was not judging me for my issues or my problems. And anyway, like, there was this dude, I shoot you negative, Bill Gates was his name. No relation to Bill Gates, the millionaire, the billionaire or whatever.
Yeah, dog.
He just happened to have the same name. He's like the big buff Greek guy. And he was like our gym coach / science teacher. It was a very small school. So like a lot of teachers had like multiple jobs, I had a social studies teacher who was also my film studies teacher that, I could geek out, but we had a math teacher that was like, I can nerd out, but they all wore many hats. And this is the crazy thing about this is it's so weird is like, so we do PE class and, of course there was always different options, just like anything. You can do badminton or whatever. Of course I chose floor hockey because that seemed kind of fun and whatever. And the teacher would play with us. And anyway, I don't remember anything. I was in a coma for a week after, and I've heard so many variant stories of it that I didn't know what to believe was the truth. And it wasn't for 20 years later till Kurt Hayashi actually got the truth out of the principal that was about to retire there. Kurt Hayashi, rest in peace, got the whole story for me. And it was the weirdest thing ever what happened. So I was always under the impression that I tripped over my own feet. I'm extremely pigeon-toed. Me and Rodney Mullen share that attribute or curse. And that was the other thing I loved about Rodney Mullen early on was I saw another pigeon-toed dude and in videos I could relate. So I'm very pigeon-toed like Rodney Mullen. If anyone sees me walk, my gait is totally pigeon-toed still to this day. And so I thought I tripped over a stick or whatever. I get slammed into a cement wall, cinder block wall. And I don't remember anything about the incident. I barely remember even going to the gym that day. I don't remember anything pretty much leading up to it. I remember seeing Green Day the night before. Literally, it was the last show I ever saw 2 years working. It was Green Day live all in the theater with Voodoo Glow Skulls opening for them. And so I went there with my girlfriend at the time, and it was an all ages show where
Portland, right?
Yeah, in Portland. Yep. It was right off Pine Street, right where Rebel Skates was, really close to where Union Jacks, all the sick fucks will know where Union Jack Strip Club is. It was right behind there. But there was just an all ages venue called La Luna there that had a bar upstairs.
Not at Dante's, huh?
Not Dante's. Dante's Inferno's no joke. That place is dope. I like Dante's, but yeah, no joke. But yeah, this is on the east side, but that's the west side of Burnside. But yeah, we're only probably like 200 yards, a stone's tips away from Dante's. And so I saw that show with my girlfriend at the time, and went to school the next day. Of course, this was back when people smoked indoors, and I'm just smoke filled and coughing and whatever. And I barely remember getting to school, And anyway, I woke up. I went into the hospital. God, I went into the hospital on that Friday. It was a Friday. Sorry, it took me a minute to remember. I went to school I went to the hospital unconscious on a Friday, and they woke me up on a Thursday, took me out of my coma. So I was almost under anesthesia for a whole week, whole 6 days. I was in a barbiturate coma, as they call it. They told my family I had brain damage. They were worried I wouldn't walk again, or I wouldn't be able to smell or taste. They were worried I would be blind. That the neurosurgeons and everyone warned my family, like we don't know what's gonna fucking happen. So I pop out of it, and the only Cliff Notes version of it, other than bleeding out of my ear and being dizzy for 6 months, I do a lot of physical therapy just to get my balance back. To this day, I still have equilibrium problems. Like if I'm on a really bumpy plane for long periods or a bumpy boat ride or long road trips, it takes me about an hour to warm up because my equilibrium, my vestibular system is still very off from it. So my skating never really was the same after that. I still, obviously I love skating. I was a little fucking bastard. I was a little 15. It was April of 1994. So I just turned 15. I was 15 for like a month. And anyway, like for the longest time, I was under the impression that I tripped over my own feet, and other students were like, no, the teacher checked you. And I wasn't even at that age, I knew there was people that would make up things against people. Cause I'll admit Bill was kind of a harsh coach and kind of like, and kind of a dick to us, but I wasn't going to persecute anybody. And then there's this other guy, Sean. Some people saw it from a different angle. They thought it was this dude, Sean, who I love Sean. Me and him both loved hip hop. He had the high tie, like the smoke haircut, like the smokestack, like Kid and Play. He was like this badass African-American dude. Me and him loved Gangstar. He got me into Nas. Like he got me into a lot of music. Like this guy was my buddy. We'd ride the public bus together. The TriMet Bus 54. We both were on that same route. He grew up in Northeast Portland. I was across the river in Vancouver, but we ride the same, we meet up downtown, ride the same bus. So I love Sean. So I don't want to believe he would check me and do that to me, And I asked Sean about it. When I finally got cleared to go back to school, I was on all this meclizine, which is like a vestibular system drug to keep you from dizzy. By the way, I felt like I was on acid all the time because meclizine kind of gives you like, it kind of gives you like dreams life state, like not I would say borderline hallucinations, but it makes you very groggy. It's like taking a needle nap on heroin. It's a very strong drug sedative. So I looked drunk all the time at school for the rest of that school year. And even when I rode the bus, people just thought I was drunk. Like weirdos would come to me. I didn't know. Be like, hey man, what do you want? I'm like, meclizine. They thought I was fucked up, but really it was my skull injury. And it was like, I just looked like a normal dude, but it was just dizzy. Right. And so I confronted Sean about it. And Sean's like, no, man, it was the teacher. And I was like, okay, well, and the school, of course, was trying to do a cover up. Oh, he tripped over his feet. And Bill Gates was in denial. Like, no, I would never do that to a student. And like, it was really creepy. So 20 years goes by. I tell my parents, I was like, I think it was Bill Gates. And they're like, well, you probably deserved it. They were doing this whole, like, again, I was a little shithead. I was very disrespectful to my dad, especially. Not so much my mom, but, and that's something we'll get into later on. But, I wasn't the best student. I wasn't the best kid. I ran away from home a couple of times and sleep in people's dorms at PSU and hang out with dirty skateboards. I slept in the depot at Burnside a couple of times. And, I love my dad, my parents, my mom, but at that time in my life, I wasn't getting along with them very well. We butted heads a lot. So they were on the side that, no, it was probably your feet or this dude, Sean. So they didn't want to believe that it was the teacher that did this. So fast forward, literally 20 some years later, this was 2018, me and Kurt Hayashi went back to that school to kind of relive the day. And so we went to the gym. Kurt did everything professionally, like permits and everything. And like, he was trying to do this whole documentary on me for Netflix. And, he passed away of a stroke, unfortunately. But anyway, we went there and I kind of did some B-roll, like me talking about the gym and stuff. And he went to interview Patrick McGuire, who was an elderly man at this point. He was the principal of the whole school. And he just admitted, ran a camera to Kurt, and Kurt showed me the footage later on that night. Like we went back to, I actually was staying in a hotel room. I didn't want to stay with my sister because her house was cramped. She lives in North Portland. But anyway, I stayed in a hotel by the convention center and Kurt just showed me the footage. And I literally cried. I fucking teared up. I was just really fucked up, like it was like the teacher was just kind of like, yeah, I really feel bad about that. Like it was like Patty McGuire almost had like this thing of remorse, like he couldn't live with it anymore. And and it was fucked up because I felt really weird too. Cause like the school did a lot for me, honestly. Like, I mean, I never would have had a degree if it wasn't for that school. Like I never would have had a high school degree. So like, there's this really love-hate thing. Like I have going with that school because I hate them because they covered that up. And they didn't want to get sued. But I love them because I never would have had a high school degree if it wasn't for them because of my learning disabilities. They taught me so much in different ways to sight read and teach me how to kind of thread the needles of academia to be able to just get a certificate to be able, function as an adult. So it's like this really fucked up like dichotomy. I have this like Stockholm syndrome with them that I can't even describe with words because on one hand, I never would have had a high school degree and I never would have met other people like me. And I probably would have committed suicide early on in life because I never met other people that were like me, And then on the other hand, there's this deep hate, this nefarious anger I have towards Bill Gates, the science teacher that actually checked me into a fucking wall because he was having a bad day and was pissed off. So it's like, and a lot of it could have been accidents. And a lot of it could have been that Bill's retired. He's out of there. I don't know how to find him. Kurt was going to try to track him down and talk to him, but then Kurt had that stroke and, the rest is history with that. So it's a really weird feeling because like, I don't know. I have this really love-hate relationship. It's like when you eat like guacamole and it's smooth and sweet, but then there's that sriracha and then it bites you, I guess that's my Thomas Edison experience. It's hard, and anyone else who goes through that shit, just nip it at the butt early on in life. And parents, listen to your kids. They're not bullshitting you. Even if they're a bad kid and they're misbehaving, just trust them when something like that happens. I wasn't the type of guy, even at that age, to throw daggers at anybody. Like when everyone in school was trying to say Sean, the only hip hop guy, pretty much the only black kid in our school did it, which it wasn't true. He didn't do it. He was like one of the nicest, coolest dudes ever. Like he just wanted to grow up to be a DJ and fucking travel the world, with Beastie Boys and shit, but like, what I mean? And I knew that. And me and him were tight. I knew he would have tried to kick my ass in a wall. There was no beef or anything. Of course, people were stirring the pot. And then when people said it was the teacher, I kind of believed it. But then the teachers and the faculty denied it. Of course, I said, well, they're probably right. The kids are just being dicks because they don't like this guy. And here I am 20 years later getting that information. And it was very like heartbreaking, man. It was like, fuck, like Kurt showed me that. And I'll admit it. Like I deal with it a lot better now, but I mean, I was fucking in tears, dude. I was just like, I went out to the Jolly Roger and drank with Jay Muir for like a whole night after that. Like me and Jay Muir got plastered. Thank you, Jay Muir, for the lift home to the hotel, by the way. owe him big time for that. I got so pickled that night after learning that information from Kurt. Kurt went home to his family. I hooked up to Jay Muir at Burnside. Me and him went out and got destroyed.
Fuck, dude. So what can you do with that? I'm sure like you said, it's a double-edged sword. Part of you probably really wants to confront it, but like, what can you do 20 some odd years later?
Yeah, 25 years later. Yeah, 94. So April of 94, that would be, yeah. And the thing is it took me a long time. I had to come to some solace with it for months and months after the Kurt thing, after I should say the Kurt interview, I shouldn't say thing, but took place. I got back home to Cedar Rapids and I told my wife about it. And I kind of was pondering what to do. Like, do I get an attorney? Do I do anything? But then I started thinking, and this is the craziest thing. This is where forgiveness comes into text, man. I started thinking of all the kids at that school that because of the funding they have and the grants and everything are being helped, that aren't killing themselves, aren't fucked up on the street, aren't homeless, aren't in sleeping bags, aren't getting addicted to fucking hard ass drugs because of their learning disabilities and because of their learning differences. And I didn't want to scar that. I was like, no, like that. What happened to me doesn't speak on volume of the whole school for what it does as a good good institution for the rest of the student body. Right. And so it was really hard for me to be that forgiving, but because there was that part of me want to be the normal, American human. But no, I'm not going to do anything about it because I feel that school does do more good than it does bad. Even though I was a victim of that, I know there's tons of people go there that are working and living normal lives because of that school. And I don't want future generations to be hindered by that funding wise or, whatever, or have like them have some, if it does go public and it ends up in the Oregon newspaper or whatever, I didn't want it to do something where it would hinder someone from having their kids go there because of that, And I feel like, you know what I mean? I feel that guy's retired now. Patrick McGuire, the guy that was orchestrated, is out of there now. Bill Gates is out of there now. Everyone that was involved with the faculty then is gone. And, that was a long time ago. It was 25 years ago. So, I feel that it took me a long time to forgive him, but I did. And I look at it like, I'll never do anything. I'll never press anything on it because I saw those kids, I saw those kids that day when I did the little tour of the school and spoke to them. And I saw where they were in place and time. And I was like, if I take money away from that doesn't make me any better. I'm hurting someone else's life. Someone else might have a worse situation than I could even imagine. No, I've had a pretty good life after that. I'm not begging on the street for change. I found a beautiful woman, married her. I own a skate shop, I'm doing pretty good. For a guy in my position, I should be on a tent on fucking Lower Wacker or East Burnside or like Lower fucking Powell Boulevard by the Pancake Hut fucking begging for change. I shouldn't be fucking where I am. So I look at it like I saw what that school did. It took me a long time to wait out because I did go through those struggles of what to do, that push and pull. And then especially after Kurt died, it was even harder because I didn't know what to do. I hit up John Humphreys about getting the footage because I heard he had the hard drives and he said, no, Kurt's widow has the hard drives. And I was just like, I'm not going to chase these hard drives around for this. It feels weird doing the documentary myself from myself. If someone else wants to pick up where Kurt left off and does it and wants to get the footage from John and his widow, whatever, they can do that. But I don't know if the vision would be right. I feel like it's not going to speak, true to what his vision was for the documentary if someone else does it or if I do it, especially because it's like any artist, you know what I mean? Like they found, here we go. We'll go back to the art thing where skateboarding is a performance art, masquerades as a sport.
Hi, you found me. It's hard to find me because I'm so into art. Now go away. I'm busy thinking.
John Coltrane, about 10 years ago, a million years after he died, his first wife, widow, etc., Naima, she found some old reels in the attic, and the Sons decided to release it, and it's like half songs, and it's not a great, of course, jazz historians love it, but most of us listen, we'd be like, what is this shit, So I feel like what Kurt did was one of those things where it's like, he's dead and I don't know what to do about it. I know I could get those hard drives if I really begged around enough and hit up his widow and hit up John enough, but they're going through their own sorrow. They're going through their own pain right now. And I didn't feel right doing it right away. Maybe let them, let that fizzle out for a while, then hit them back and do it up the road. That footage isn't going anywhere. I'm sure it's secure, but.
So was he just only filming it? Like he hadn't started the editing process at all yet?
None of the editing. No, he was just shooting.
So that would be, that's a tough one. I love Kurt so much.
Me too. He was a great guy, man. He was like a brother to me. He hit me up out of the blue.
Such a good dude. Insane. Like one of the nicest guys. Like he's in that category where you're like, is this guy like fake? Because it seems
Right.
So like in today's world, especially where you're like, there's not that many nice guys like that. And he was always checking in with me, sending me like things to like make me smile or like give me information. Just a really caring and sharing dude. No, I got a funny story I'll throw in. First time I met Kurt, we were on a think trip up to Oregon, and I was with Wade, Phil, and McKenny, and some of these dudes. And we run into Kurt. I can't remember exactly where, but I want to say it might have been at the indoor. There's a shop with an indoor park.
The Department of Skateboarding.
Department,
Duffs.
right?
Yep.
And he came up to us, and he's like, "I've been filming with Matt Beach for this 411 or something." He was filming a full part with Matt Beach, and I swear to God, I love Kurt. I hate talking shit, but he was like, "When Costin sees this, he's gonna shit his pants." And the rest of the year, we would just fucking like, when Costin sees this, he's gonna shit his pants.
I love that stuff. It was so funny because he had that kind of cocky persona. It was so comical because there was kind of an underlying ego there, like he's a typical Leo, and it's just so funny. Like I known him my whole life. I mean, I probably met Kurt when I was before the skull injury. I met him just at Oasis contest, and I'd seen him at skate church. I'd seen him at random spots around the city. I watched him film Rockman Chung and Matt Beach and Jamie Fortune and all those dudes. And, he was like Ernie and Burr with John Humphreys. They'd ping pong the video / photo gear. And, they became lens masters, film bots of note. And I remember Kurt filming stuff for me for 4-in-1, like you said, stuff with Matt and everybody. And he was just, it was just funny because like he had that almost like, it was like almost sarcastic where you're like, are you an egotistical maniac? What the fuck's wrong with you? To like, oh wait, he's just joking with me. You know, you can't even tell. There was like this real, like kind of like Andy Kaufman, like stage performance he put on, and it was beautiful in its own way too. Cause I think it was like his poetic justice of comedy. Like it was kind of his kind of like weird, like, off-brand sense of humor that he would hone. But yeah, it was interesting. I mean, he approached me about that documentary, years ago. And I was like, yeah, I'm down. He's like, yeah, like, I just want to do some interviews with you, different things through your life. And just based on what we're doing right here, And so, I mean, he flew out to Chicago to do a Nike shoot, and he drove all the way to Cedar Rapids. That was the last time I ever saw him alive. We hung out for 3 days. He stayed right here in this house. Wow. We hung out, we went out, we skated, we saw things, and he interviewed people around here, interviewed my wife, blah, 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 hung out in the shop, B-roll of different people buying things. And then he flew back to Portland. I never saw him alive again, and it's just, that was the craziest thing. There's still this parking spot, like kitty corner from the shop. And every time I go by, I was thinking, because that's the last place I saw him. I hugged him goodbye to go to the airport in his rental car. He took off. That's the last time I saw him alive, it was just right there, it's funny, like you said about that, the Department of Skateboard and him, Costin will shit go. He sweated Costin. He sweated at that time. He loved 4-star. He loved girls so much. Like he wanted to work for girls so bad. He worked for Firm. He made the Firm, but he really wanted to ping pong himself into, be a Ty Evans. He wanted to be a John Holland, a Greg Hunt.
That Lance Mountain party did where it's all in Lance's pool is like, so good.
Incredible. I agree. Incredible.
Insane.
He is a great filmer, man. Great contrast of things.
Yeah, I worked with him a bunch throughout the years, and we always had a good time. We he was that guy that you could kind of have fun with. You could fuck around, and he'd fuck back with you. Not like these like serious like. Oh God, those guys are the worst. I can't deal with fucking people taking. There's dudes in this town like that. I'm in a 2-horse town in the middle of Iowa. I'm surrounded by corn and soybean. There's motherfuckers that have high horses. Where I'm like, dude, what? What are you ego tripping on, bro? Like, you didn't invent the cure for cancer. You didn't invent the COVID vaccine. You're a fucking skateboarder. Yes, you're talented, but dude, you're a big fish in a small pond, buddy. Like, or you're a filmer or you're a videographer, a photographer, but you're still in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, bro. Like, there's not a lot of room for growth here, man. Like, I see that everywhere. And it's really comical when you move to a small town like this and you still see it. Because I used to think that was just something that was unique to big cities, living. But now I live here and it's still around. It just doesn't make sense. Yeah, I mean, I hate to sound like a big city asshole, but I think maybe those people are so much hungrier and have such a, like their dream is a lot bigger because they're so far removed that they do have to feel like this, like I have to be as, I don't know. I've always tripped on that though. Like you're in the middle of nowhere and then there's this dude flexing and you're like, dude, When I was a kid, like my parents used to use this one. It's not a piano. Like that was their way of saying it doesn't have to be perfect. And I transferred that to this is still skateboarding. Just remember that. You know what I mean? It's still skateboarding, bro. Like you don't have to make Star Wars here. Like let's just have fun. Like that's how we got into it, you know? Like
literally, people peacock so hard, man. They go peacocking. I'm like, dude, why are you peacocking, man? It's just a skateboard. People come to the shop all the time.
Right.
Well, this guy bit my trick down this handrail. I'm like, it's not like this. It's going to get a cover. This is a 10-stair handrail in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. No one even knows it exists. Most people don't even know this town exists. Like, yeah, I know what you mean. Like, I mean, that shit happens all the time where I'm like, I get a good giggle where I'm like, dude, no one cares. Let's have fun. Like, enjoy yourself. We're all going to die at some point, you know. Dude. Why the fuck? And you're right. Kurt was a fun guy to hang with because of that. He had those attributes of comedy. Me and him would always bounce. I'm a very sarcastic bastard. He was a very sarcastic bastard.
Yeah,
so we,
exactly.
you know, we'd bounce different jokes back and forth. You know, he'd call me Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. I'd call him Ghostbuster because he'd wear a big backpack with all his battery gear and shit. Because I remember, like, at Slam City Jam 99, he had, like, a camera with, like, a wire that came in a backpack with such, the backpack was the battery. It was, like, the early stages of, you know, like, videography where you didn't have, like, a 1,000,000 hour battery. And I was like, what's up, Ghostbuster? He's like, whatever, you know, Shaggy. You know, it was just like, you know, we just fucked with each other. We got along great because we both could. And you're right, he didn't get serious or hurt. I had a kid a number of years ago, back in 2016, had no sarcasm. We sponsored him and everything. Talented skater. Don't get me wrong, amazing skater. But he had a chip on his shoulder, and I made a couple jokes, and he just took it the wrong way. He's like, fuck you guys, blah, 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 boycott you. It was just like, I was just playing with him like that, you know, like just that sarcasm. It was like, dude, that's just a part of skating. Like, you can throw it back at me. Like, you know, fucking huck it back, bro. Like,
yeah.
You know, and it was just like, dude, he got all serious. I remember, like, I put some of his footage on YouTube. He's like, oh, save that for a video part. I'm like, dude, bro, like, it's a video part in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Like, don't get too serious. Like, you're not on Retainer's fucking, you know, chocolate right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Spike Jones is not filming this. My dumb ass is filming this. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no contracts. Like, this is a little different than the real world. Like, we're playing Little League here, bro. Like, it's not a piano, like you said. Like, it was just funny. Now we get along. I get along with that kid great. Now he grew up. He's like 20 something, great. But at the time, I was just like, what the fuck? How are you peacocking? Dude, you're in a city of 500,000 people, bro. Like, there's no one that lives here. Like, literally 500,000 people live here, and most of them work in factories making corn products. You know, it's like literally this whole city's economy is based off of corn syrup. Like, if they ever ban corn syrup for making people obese and giving them cancer, like, I have to move because this place will just disappear. Like, Quaker Oats General was like, you know, Milwaukee's beer city. I'm cereal city. Every cereal's made here. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, General Mills, Quaker. Yeah, if you look at the back of the box, it was probably made down the street. What's
your favorite cereal?
Woo! God, that's a hard one. I like Puffins. You know what the little Puffins are? They give money back to the Puffins. You know, it's like some organic one. It's like you find it in like your co-ops and your nature's type grocery stores. You know,
fucked with Cocoa Pebbles.
Yeah, Cocoa
Pebbles. I probably ate more of that than anything. And then Captain Crunch, we did like the variety. Like, we'd have the peanut butter, the regular, and the fruit ones. Oh man, dude, love cereal though, like
Crunch Berries. Yeah, Wednesdays, Crunch Berry days. When I skate to work on Wednesdays, you can smell the Crunch Berries in the air. It smells like Captain Crunch. The whole city does. Yeah.
How cool.
Isn't that cool? Yeah, you smell Crunch Berries as far as you can see. And you're at the skate park skate. It puts you in a good mood because you smell Crunch Berries.
I gotta get there, dude. I've never been to Cedar Rapids. Yeah,
I got a guest room, bro. We'll hang out. We can drive 2 hours to Des Moines and go to the world's biggest skate park. We can go to Mike V's house and I don't know, play cards or something.
Mike V lives in Des Moines.
Yeah, you didn't know that? Yeah, he moved to Des Moines, like, I don't know, back in the winter. Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Shit. Yeah.
Him and Ann sold their house in Long Beach and moved out here. Isn't that nuts? And isn't that crazy? Yeah, and when you have Mike on the show, ask him about it. It's crazy. Like, he just, honestly, I mean this humorly speaking, Mike, don't punch me. But he just saw how much fun I was having, so he decided to do the same thing.
He saw what you were up to.
Yeah, he was on tour with Black Flag at the time, and they came by the shop. They were playing a venue really close to us, about 10 miles from the shop. And, he came in and we bullshitted and stuff. This is like 9 years ago. And Greg Ginn was like, why would you move to Iowa from San Diego? The weather is so horrible. I was like, you got a point, Greg Ginn. And then 9 years later, Mike did it. I think Mike was like, I think Nate was onto something. I think he saw how cheap real estate was and saw how easy it was to live here. And I'm joking. Mike, please don't clothesline me. I mean that in the most loving way. He probably did it. I'm sure there's other reasons. I mean, the rumor was that Mike moved here because his eldest daughter, Emily, was dating this guy that's a studio drummer that lives in Des Moines that plays with bands like Slipknot and Marilyn Manson stuff. But he put that out there. That's not the reason. So, you know, that was the rumor, just to extinguish that. Mike put that out there. Mike just said the real estate's nice. The people are nice. because it's nice to be around people that don't just use him as a pro skater. Like he likes to, he has all these friends that don't even know he skates. He just hangs out with, plays hockey with, plays music with. I think it's just nice for him not to, since he was a teenager, people have been fanning out on him. So I think it's nice for him to be able to go around and do things without people being like, you're Mike V. They're probably just like, who the fuck's this guy? Like, he's just, he just looks like another Iowa dude. He's got, just like tattoos and a goatee. Looks like 90% of the dudes around. Give him a John Deere hat, give him a tractor, he's fucking set. That motherfucker doesn't have to do shit, So he runs Street Plan out here. He can ship it to either coast. I'll have him tell you more about it. I'm speaking too liberally on it, but like I said, he's 2 hours away. Des Moines 2 hours away. I'm in the Fresno of Iowa. I'm like halfway between Chicago. Let's just say Chicago is LA, and let's say SF is Des Moines. I'm kind of like the Fresno. You know what I mean? Like I'm like an agricultural center. I'm like Ryan Johnson, bro. Like I'm fucking in the middle. I'm by the Vagabond. I can drive anywhere. I can get to St. Louis or Kansas City, Missouri.
I miss Ryan Johnson. That's so rad.
Me too, dude.
That's so rad.
I fucking love that guy. The first time I ever skated a pool. Okay, so me. Pressure flipping kook, pigeon toed Nate Sherwood, right?
Yeah.
Ledge
pool
pad,
skater, I hear.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking pool skating, fucking Ryan Johnson. So I'm up in the fucking rain of Oregon, right? It's the dead of winter. My friend Matt Hawes we're working on a video part together. And he's like the only filmer I could get a hold of at the time. Kurt was busy with his shit. And everyone else was busy with their own tribes. And I hit up Ryan Johnson. Like we kind of befriend each other. His lady at the time went to school in Portland for becoming a flight attendant. There's a school there for that. So like I met Ryan at a local park, this park, Swift Skate Park in Vancouver, Washington. We exchanged numbers and we kind of befriended each other. I took him around on a tour and took him to all kinds of spots. Long story short, I was like dead of winter. I was like, dude, can we come down and crash with you and hang out? He's like, absolutely. And I've never skated a real pool before. I was like, I want to skate a real pool. So he took me on this like gnarly, like fucking like boot camp training of pool skating. Like, okay, don't come straight at the wall in the shallow end. Like this and that. We're jumping fences. Like cops are driving around the block. We're jumping. I mean, we got all these clips. The Vagabond, like I'm sure they're still on YouTube somewhere. I'm not doing anything impressive. I mean, Lindsay Armanto could fucking smoke me like a pack of cools. I did like a lean to tail and a rock and roll or some shit, but like it was just amazing because it was such a different thing than skating like the bulls at Burnside or skating a made for skate, a contraption. It was the first time in my life I was like, this is what a backyard pool's like, because they don't have those in-ground pools like that in Oregon. It was just, oh my God, like I just remember dying. I mean, of course, Southern Oregon, there's a couple, but Northern Oregon, there isn't. And of course, we can get into details. I remember I skated one or two after that in Southern Oregon. But anyway, like Ryan Johnson was so gnarly. Like he would get up and rip a bong at like 7 a.m. Be like, okay, guys, we're going to skate. Like he would like leave the house in his slippers and like go through like, I remember we get to this one pool. And I shoot you negative. We get to this one pool. He's wearing his slippers, like gnarly, like mom slippers with the fuzzy shit, right? He's looking for his, like, he was riding for E-America at the time. He's looking for his E-Americas in the back of his Honda Civic or Honda Accord. And I'm like, he's like, oh, I left him at the house. He's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna skate the pool in these. And there's still clips of that. Like my buddy John filmed him. He fucking shredded the Vagabond, dude, in slippers, bro. Like he carved around the stairs in like the slippers where your ankles can follow the back of. Like the nasty, like barefoot. We're talking fucking full crazy motherfucker, like carving, grinding, like over the light, just figure eights, ripping the fuck out of like down the waterfall, shallow end, deep end, murdering it in slippers. Was blown, bro. Yeah,
that's
Ryan
amazing.
I love Ryan. I filmed some of his clips for his 7-year glitch part, man. Like, I fucking love that guy.
That handrail is legendary. The long curve one, like.
Yeah, the long curve rail, dude. Kids come in all the time, like, what's the longest rail been skated? For years, I would just tell them that one. I'd be like, Ryan Johnson, of course, I'm biased. Again, I'm biased. I like the guy. Yeah. I'm sure there's longer ones, but I was like, no, Ryan Johnson.
Now there is.
Like 30 million stair handrail. Of course, Nigel Houston does that shit in his sleep now. He's probably like switch 5-0 grinds that shit all like halfway. Like, Of course, I mean, I saw Riley Hawk skate that rail and a million people skate rails. Gravette. Oh, fuck. I love that guy too, man. That's another guy. He was a little kid when I left Portland. Little bastard. I remember meeting him. And then I was in Oceanside, and this mutual friend of ours, Brendan Klein, was shooting photos with him. And like, he comes into my house and we're hanging out. He's like, yeah, my friend Taylor from Washougal. And I was like, yeah, like, what the fuck? And I was like, and Gavret was famous at this point. And I'm like, you're from Washougal? Like, wait, Washougal, Washington, which is like.
They called them pads.
Yeah, it's like, there's like a cool lake there and some cool rivers and great swimming place. But I wasn't going to say it because I don't want to punch me. But yes, his name was Pads.
Nickname Pads.
You know all about it, bro.
We called him Baby Lamb because he would just yell when he would like hit the ground.
Yes. You just scream out. That poor little fella. So amazing. I
love
I mean, Gravette. Unbelievable. Love that guy. He's my hero in life, dude. Gravette, much love to you, bro. Like, he's just amazing skater, so accomplished. I'm so proud of all he's accomplished in his career and everything he's done. And he goes fishing and he's got his kayaks, he's got his guns, he's doing great, man. Like the guy's just he's living like an Iowan, but in Washington,
Yeah,
or maybe
he's
over-
really took on his persona and been himself. And I interviewed him, and that was the one thing that he said was like, he's like, I just try to be myself. I never try to like be something I'm not. And like, you can say that 100%. I think it's rad. Like a lot of people have their weird things about certain people. And it's like,
It's great. Cause I mean, he's the coolest guy ever. I love that guy like a brother. And I just love individuals. That's one of the things I love about the Northwest. It breeds individuality, and out here, that's like a pastime. Like people will take me after work, like customers that are really good customers of mine will be like, hey, you want to go shoot guns? I don't even own a gun, but they're like, want to go shoot? I'm like, sure, why not? Like, I feel like you're vet all the time. I'm just shooting guns at a range, blowing away beer cans. It's like fireworks that shoot things, It's like, fuck yeah. And I'm shooting AKs and AR-15s and all this crazy shit.
Backflips on bikes and shit. Like,
crazy
going
shit.
off.
Like, I'm telling you, Dave, you come out to Iowa, you love it, bro.
Mountain bike
my father-in-law loves shooting guns. I love my friend Nate Stuber. We go fishing all the time in kayaks. We catch little, fucking, bluegills and bass and shit. And I've been trying to catch a muskie. So yeah, I mean, it's literally like it's so interesting because there's a lot of rednecks that have the stereotype of Oregon, like, oh, it's all like crazy, like PC, over the top liberals. I'm like, dude, then I pull a David Gravette. I'm like, check this guy out. There you go. Hey, no stereotype, asshole. No stereotype. I pull up the footage. I'm like, see this guy? He's shooting a gun. Now he's nose grinding handrail. Yeah, shut up. Because honestly, I'm not politically affiliated with anything. I'm just a skateboarder. But I think it's great that Gravette exists, and especially exists there because it's such a great thing for me to show. And the guys come to my shop, ranting and raving. And I tell them I'm from Portland. They're like, "Oh no, you're a fucking terrorist." I'm like, "No, dude. There's a lot of people not like that there." And they're like, "Oh, really?" They're like red hatted out of their fucking minds. I show them Gravette. I'm like, here. And I don't think Gravette votes either. He's just a guy that has fun. But, I just show them that, like, look, not everybody there is a vegan. Not everybody there is anti-gun. Like, here we go. This guy, watch this video. So Gravette is a really good tool for me in my shop every day. Thank you, Dave, for being a friend and also letting me use you as my example that Portland's not all just, Portlandia.
Well, I just got my executive director just chimed in and she is saying, dude, you got to ask him, how did you get to where you are from Portland? How did you find your wife and how did you end up moving out to Iowa, Cedar Rapids? Like, did you go straight to Cedar Rapids or was it a progressive or what?
It was a very progressive thing. She has a great question there. So this is the most interesting thing ever. I was living in Oceanside, California at the time, and I just got a job at Duffs Shoes. I was working there with RP Best and Russ Pope and those guys. And I just wrapped up the second season of American Misfits, and I was back down there. Like I would couch surf. Like my address was Oceanside, but I'd be up in Echo Park all the time with Laban and Ted, and then working on field TV stuff. Yeah, Laban. Yep, those are my boys, man.
I like Laban's cool.
Oh, I fucking love him, man.
I don't know Ted super well, but I know Laban good.
Yeah, Laban's great. Fucking love him, man. Absolutely, man. I would couch surf at his place all the time. We'd go out and eat and hang out, and he'd take me to whatever restaurant that had tofu, and we'd eat that, and we'd drive around his like Mercedes that burn freaking literally what do you call it, fryer grease and shit, his biodiesel thing. Oh, and we had the most fun ever. Me and those guys. I could write a whole book this thick just on that area of my life. And I just broke up with this chick in LA. She lived off Commonwealth and Fairfax, like or Sunset, like near Fairfax area. And the reason we broke up is she was like a crazy Scientologist, and I didn't know that when I first got involved with her. It was like fucking freaky, bro. Like I didn't know that. Like it was one of those things. Like we kind of jumped into things kind of heavy and fast. We met at a bar. I won't get into the details because I'm an old married man. I don't, you get the point. You know how that is. One thing leads to another. You stay at their house. Oh, mom. A few times think things are great. You're attracted to her. And then all of a sudden it was like, there's my church. You want to go to church with me? I'm like, what? Like, yeah, we can go this Sunday. I'm like, what church? And I look at the sign. I'm like, oh, fuck me, dude. Like, oh shit. She worked at ABC. Her job was to cut hair. And so I go back to Oceanside, kind of retreat with my tail between my legs. Like, fuck, I just got to like get away from women. I got to go away from all this bullshit. My friend Bert Gregory, who worked for Discovery Channel, came down to hang out with me. And we're literally bullshitting, hang out in this little bridge that's in this alley on Cassidy and Myers Street in Oceanside and South O. We're literally just bullshitting, watching the sunset. And our other friend Andre is just sitting there smoking some weed. And here comes this little petite woman out of the back of this apartment complex with 2 giant garbage bags. And my friend Bert's trying to be all like masculine and he's peacocking. He's like, hey, man, want me to help you take your garbage? She's like, oh, absolutely. And so Bert goes and helps my future wife taking the garbage out. And like she walks over towards me on the bridge. And my friend Bert, my friend Andre, and she's like, what's up, guys? How you guys doing? What are you guys doing there? We're like, oh, we're just watching the sunset here. You want to hang out with us? She's like, yeah. And Bert is like more extrovert. Me, I don't want to talk to women. I just had this horrible breakup with a crazy Scientologist woman. I was like, didn't want to get inducted into a fucking call. Last thing I want to do is be near women. So I'm being shy and quiet and just like, fuck this. I don't want to see a woman ever again. So Bert's just hitting on her. He's macking to the door like Too Short, right? And my friend Andre is just, making conversation. And she's like, yeah, I moved here from Iowa like a year ago. Where's the best bar to shoot pool? I like to shoot pool. And we're like, yeah, Embassy Room down the fucking street. That's what I said. She's like, let's go to that bar and shoot pool. So me and her shoot pool. We exchange numbers. This is her fucking catch. She's like, hey, let me get your number so we can shoot pool again. That's literally her fucking icebreaker. I literally wasn't going after girlfriend. Like, I was like, oh, fuck, give a woman my number. Like, oh, I know how this leads. This leads to diseases and babies and fucking death and Scientology. Fucking, I never met anyone from Iowa either. I don't even fucking know anything about Iowa. Like, what the fuck is that? Like all I knew about Iowa was like fucking, that movie, fucking Bill Murray in it where he was from Iowa. That's it. Never met anyone from Iowa. So anyway, exchange numbers. Few nights go by. She hits me up. She's like, the moon's full tonight. You want to come down to the bridge and hang out and smoke some herb or whatever? Like, the moon is full tonight. It's a beautiful full moon. So I go down there and hang out with her. We hang on that same bridge. We bullshit. We go to a couple bars again. We hang out. We go to coffee the next day. I'm not getting details of what happened that night. We go to coffee the next day.
Oh, big dog's in.
Fast forward a million years. Like probably like 3 or 4 years after that, I come to Iowa to visit her family, do the whole meet the parents thing. Like we're together. We're cohabitating at this point. We're living together. I still haven't met the parents, right? Like we moved in now. No, it's 3 years. It was 3 years later. So me and her drive out to Iowa. We don't even fly. We drive because I wanted to see like just parts. Like I've never really spent time in the Southwest. I wanted to see some cactus and shit. So we did like the full just cruise Arizona and all that shit and cruise through, the top part of Texas and all that. I come here and meet her dad. Her dad's fucking hilarious. Her dad's literally David Gravett. My father-in-law gave her Gravett at 60. Like literally, if you took
King of the Road tattooed on his eyebrows.
Yeah, I wish he did. You know what? I'm gonna tell Jay to do that. He's like literally my father-in-law is David Gravett, but 60 years old and chubbier. Like if you took David Gravett and made him obese, and I'll say it because he'll call me out too. Me and him get along that good. We can do that. But he's the same sense of humor. Loves fishing, loves hunting shit. Like same kind of cadence, same kind of Northwest humor. Great guy. I love my father-in-law. Fell in love right away with the father-in-law before he's my father-in-law. Just hung out with him. We bullshitted. We made jokes. Like my sister-in-law brought this guy over that was a vegetarian, and me and Jer making fucked up jokes, like politically incorrect jokes about that. We're like, oh, we have a dead deer out back. We just carved this off of him. You want to like he's still alive running around if you can catch him. And we were just, of course I have nothing against vegetarians. Obviously I'm friends with Laban Feitis, right? But we were just, I'm very Dave Chappelle in that way. I just like to make jokes. I'm very sarcastic and I like to make humor. Obviously I have no disrespect to anybody that's peated out. Anyway, so like I come here, I fall in love with the area and I'm driving around. I noticed how cheap rent is. I noticed how cheap gas is. Gas was like 99 cents a gallon. I noticed how cheap groceries were. And then I noticed there was like 2 skate parks, a shitload of skaters, like talented motherfuckers. I mean, dudes like Eric Fletcher, he's from here. Colin Slew, he's from here. I met all these rippers. This dude, Adam Miller. I mean, I could go on. And there's all these spots. I mean, it's literally like the Barcelona of the Midwest. Like no one knobs anything because there's not enough skaters here to knob anything. There's all these cantilever ledges and marble and all this great shit downtown. I mean, I got a spot book that's like 200, like this thick, like 20 pages of just, fucking photos of spots. Long story short. Yeah. So I go back to Southern California. Duffs goes out of business. And I pick up a gig with Airspeed shoes. Yeah, this is sad. This is hard to admit. And like Airspeed, like they start paying me $1,000 a month just to rep them, to ride for them, and to be their marketing guy. So I'm like doing little videos and little edits and shit like that, and going to events and just I'm making a G a month.
That's the Walmart shoe company, right?
Yeah, that's the Walmart shoe company. Yeah, it's really hard to admit this, dude. This is like AA meeting right now, bro. Like I feel like I'm totally like, yes, I want to sit on Airspeed, and like I feel like I need to like do like a fucking like a gnarly like admit the truth, kind of be funny thing. Testimonial. Thank you. That's the word I was going for. I was like, I can't articulate. I was like testimonial, and so. Our Airspeed, and this guy Jason McMaster was like the team manager, was cool, but Bill Mann, the owner, aka the guy who's doing Airwalk, is a total prick. Anyway, like I do that for 3 years, and I ended up building up my pay rate to $2,000 a month. I have a shoe out in Walmart now, making $2,000 a month. Everything's just sailing great, and making good money. I'm living the dream, living by the beach at the woman of my dreams. I'm taking flights back to Iowa to film video parts because there's so much shit here to skate. Like, I mean, it really is. Like this place is like the only on tap gem of like where it's not knob because they never heard of it. Like Chicago, everything's knob. St. Louis is knobs. This place, they don't knob anything because they don't even know what the fuck that is. They're all like farmers, like, oh, that's weird. Why is he flipping that around? Whatever. I don't care. I got bigger things to do. I got to go do some bush light. Goddamn it, it's 5:30. Even the cops skate here, dude. I got like 10 cops that come into my shop that skate. They come in cop uniforms. They're like, I need some more reds. Like not just for their kids. but like they actually shred. Like I've literally had them call up on me at skate spots. Like, what's up, Nate? And there's bullshit. And like little skaters get all freaked out. I'm like, no, dude, that guy buys shitty skates. Like literally, like when you see those viral videos of cops skating, like they're literally in my neighborhood. Like it's insane. Like there's this one Josh Bell who totally rips. Like he's got mean fucking frontside airs and shit. I could go on. I won't get into details. We'll be here all day. But anyway, it's fucking hilarious. Like, I've never been anywhere where the cops are so chill. Like they'll kick you out of certain spots. Or like I remember one time I was at a parking lot downtown bombing some, and like this cop comes up and he's like, dude, look, I don't care if you skate here. I used to skate when I was younger, but like some old lady called from across the street and I got to kick you out. Just come back when the old lady's not around, I guess. And he's like, gets in his car driving all like, fuck this. I got bigger fish to fry. But anyway, long story short, I kept coming back here and I was like, fuck, okay. This place seems like it would be an interesting place to retire as an old man or something. And then Airspeed just cuts me. Like I do this interview with Jesse Fritsch and the Ride Channel guys, or free lunch, or what was it called? It was free lunch. It was like where they buy you lunch and you do interviews.
Oh yeah.
And I made the mistake of saying, because they're asking me why I was working in a taco shop, and they're like, "How does he have a shoe in Walmart? And you're working in a taco shop." I was like, "Well, yeah, they used to pay me $2,000 a month for that shoe, and now they only pay me $500 a month for it." And they're like, "Oh, why is that?" I'm like, "I don't know. I guess I'm not marketable." And then they fired me the next day after that came out, just because like I told the truth. Because as you can tell, I'm like that movie Liar with Jim Carrey. I can't keep my mouth shut. I can't lie. Like that's why my wife loves me. I can't lie about anything. Like she'll be like, "Oh, you're looking at that girl over there." I'll be like, "Yes, I am." Like I can't lie about shit. Like ask anybody. I'm like, honestly,
but I would never touch her. That's what you guys say. I would never.
I never touch her.
I would never do that.
Like I'll never touch her. I just, dude. Yes, you caught my eyes drifting. I'm sorry. I'm typical male. Whatever. But so like long story short, I have no income now. Airspeed's over with. Factory 54 is over with. Recon Skateboards couldn't afford to pay me anything because they're just a really small board company, like out of a garage where they're like they gave me 2 boards a month. The dude who runs it's really nice guy, Geraldo brand, great, awesome Guatemalan dude that fucking knows how to make great food. Love you. But he just didn't have enough money to give me money, just give me boards, right? So, that doesn't pay rent in Oceanside. I got like rent that's like $1,400 a month. Long story short, fast forward, I get a job at a car lot. By the way, I don't wish that upon my worst enemy, dude. I don't care who you are. Don't ever work at a car lot. Fucking worst job ever. Holy shit. Cutthroat, all commission. Fuck that. I'm depressed. I want to kill myself. My wife is like, let's just take a trip back to Iowa. You always feel happy there. So we fly out to Iowa just to kind of decompress with my vacation time. I've now worked at the car lot at a Ford dealership for a year. Well, it was a Kia/Ford dealership, whatever, fuck it. I fly back here, still no skate shop within 25 miles. Still tons of skateboarders ripping, buying all their shit online. Still huge scene of skaters. I'm like, fuck it. I go home, take my life savings, which was like $4,000. I take a loan out for $20,000 from a bank. It took me a while to get the business plan all written out. I had to do SBA. There's a bunch of bullshit. A few months later, after I get all the fucking shit approved, me and the wife are in the U-Haul moving here. And I've been here 9 years now. Just 9 years. We opened up 9 years ago, and we literally moved here. We rented the place before we even moved here. Like we just looked at it like on whatever the website it was, and she rented the place. We tore up the carpet. We fucking started doing build out literally the day we landed. And like 3 weeks later, we were open, and I literally have been open ever since. Isn't that crazy?
Do you live there too, or is it a separate place?
It's a separate building. I want to live above the shop. I really wish I could find one of those. It's been my dream. There was a firehouse that was for sale a few years ago that was decommissioned that you could do that with. And my loan officer wouldn't approve me for it. It was like $250,000. They only approved me for like $100,000. So, but if I could have got the proof for the loan, I would have done that because that would have been like the ideal, like Ghostbusters, like skate shop life. I would have been like happy as fuck.
And you could take the pole down into the shop.
Yes.
Like, woo!
Exactly. What's up, guys? Need some grip tape? Yeah, literally take the pole down.
You might get sick of being in the same spot 24/7, though. You might need a little away time.
Right. There is that. And just like the coastal regions, rent keeps going up too, which sucks. I mean, my rent when I first opened up $700, and my landlord just gave me a new lease like 3 days ago, and it's gone up from $1,000 to $300. It was $1,350 now, so $350 more a month. So I mean, it's just ridiculous. Like, I mean, not here in SF. People in SF are laughing right now, but like, I'm just like, dude, I'm in the middle of Iowa.
We're crying.
Yeah,
it's
like,
hard,
this asshole
man.
thinks it's fucked up. Like, my landlord thinks that my skate shop is Bel Air. It's more like the Fifth Ward. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? Like, it's not like a great box. I mean, it's wonderful for a dirty hesh fuck, like a dirty skateboarder like me. But it's not this like grandiose place. I'm down in a neighborhood break-ins. I mean, we had 2 break-ins. We've had all kinds of shit happen. Like, I could geek out about that, but it's just like you guys are going through. I mean, I can't. I'm complaining to the desert about sand right now. I mean, you guys have horrible things. I mean, go down to the Tenderloin district of Hemlock. Fuck. Talk about people that have been fucked over by landlords and
the homeless problem is gnarly right now out here.
I've heard. It's crazy.
So did you get married in California?
So we got married here. It was so funny. Tax purposes. We were already common law. Me and her were together for 8 years by the time we, no. Wait, oh my God. We met in 2005. We moved in 2012. What is that? Sorry. 7 years. Sorry. So like 6 years, we were already together, living together and all that shit. Well, maybe more like 5 years living together. Then we moved here, we started the shop. And then after like our second year of filing taxes, together, like in the shop, we realized we'd get some tax benefits for running a business together if we were married instead of just, like, oh, we don't know each other or whatever, like,
okay.
But, so yeah, it was so fun. We just did like the justice of the peace route. Like it wasn't even fancy. Like we literally had my parents there, her parents there, and her sister actually who went to take the online course, the officiated did it. And then we just did the paperwork at the courthouse. And the way I look at it is that the thousands of dollars I was throwing away in Uncle Sam, I can put towards giving free boards to people. I can put towards sponsoring contests. I look at towards helping out the broke kids that come out of Section 8 houses. I mean, I do a lot of outreach stuff like that in the shop. That gives me more pleasure than anything else in the world, is like helping people out that come into in bad situations. Dudes that, I had a kid, which I won't say the name of, and I'm sure you wouldn't like that, but his mom blew up their house making meth, like a meth lab. So he's in foster care. He's 14, amazingly talented skater, one of the locals at the park that just rips. Amazing dude, and like, it's one of those situations where like, we hook him up when we can because we know he's been through a hard situation, so there's people like that come in, they just vent to me. I'm like a bartender, or a locksmith, or a cab driver, or a rabbi, or a priest. People just come and tell me shit. And I figure out where they are, like in the tax bracket they're in. And I realize, I adjust things like, all right, well, shit, obviously you work as a bag boy at the local grocery store. Your fucking mom's dead. Your dad's on heroin. Well, guess what? Those bearings are free today. I don't say that with those words, but I'm not quite that crass, but I get it. You're an engineer, you engineer airplanes, you drive a BMW, you're paying full price. You're not getting a deal, like fuck you,
We just saw that documentary. I don't know if you know about, on Tom Arnold's sister. She was the queen. It's called The Queen of Meth, and it's from Southern Iowa. I forget the city, but it's in your state, but further south. It's Tom Arnold's sister, and she was like the kingpin. She was, she had like fucking pounds, thousands of dollars. She got busted twice, went to jail or prison like 2 different times. And it's a heavy story. It's pretty good. It's done really well. Yeah, you should check it out. I think it's called The Queen of Meth.
I'll look it up. I'm going to check out Netflix tonight. But yeah, meth is huge here, man. At the end of the day, it's rare that I don't leave my house, either whether I'm skating to work or I'm at work, where I don't see someone that looks like they're a victim of meth, whether they're a pock-faced person, no teeth, or they're like the itchy, scratchy guy. Like a million years ago, there was a strip, like a little strip mall down the street from us. And anyway, long story short, I could geek out about that. But there was this guy that had what he called a thrift store. He was running out of it. And one day I'm taking the garbage out, and I shit you negative, just straight out of the movie. All these DEA cars pull up, like, like SUVs that are murdered out with just lights. These dudes in like DEA, like windbreakers jump out, and dudes in like hazmat suits jump out, and they just raid the fucking place. And the dude gets taken out in cuffs.
Oh, man.
And it was just the weirdest. Yeah, like it's crazy.
The city is Ottumwa.
Oh, Ottumwa. That's where my friend Adam Miller's mom's from. I know that place. Yeah. Okay, that's a crazy little river town. Yeah, that place is nuts. That's only about an hour and 20 minutes from me where I'm sitting right now. Yeah. Okay. That's a small little weird town, man. There's some good skate spots there, and there's actually a skate plaza near there, but it's a strange, I can see that being like a meth capital place. Like it's just a strange little run down, like the mini Detroit, you know what I mean? Like just fucking boarded up windows everywhere, nothing going on. The factories have all left, Midwest story, you know what I mean? And there's a train that goes through the Amtrak. And so I took the Amtrak through there once. That makes sense, dude. Like that lines up perfectly.
We're going to give a shout out to my Instagram followers right now. I put up that I was interviewing you, and I definitely want to look one up and utilize one of their questions. So give me 1 second.
Take your time.
Okay, this comes from Waves of Nostalgia, and he wants to know, or she, I'm not sure, is your top 3 pressure flippers, like pros that do them. Who do you got for? It's a good question, actually.
Yeah, that's a good question. Damon Bird for sure.
Huh.
Obviously, Damon Bird, that's, one that got really understated. He did a lot of investigations with pressure flips. Chris Fissel, obviously, for teaching me, I'm going to be biased right there. He always had a good one. And of course, I think someone's carrying the torch now and making it, or keeping it still popular, would be Eric Ellington. He's got a really good pressure flip. Those are my top 3, but like a runner in, if one of those doesn't rally up, Ron Carnegie, of course, was awesome with them. He had a mean pressure. Tom Matussi too.
Ron Knigge, so good.
Yeah. Ron Knigge was so good, dude. Now he makes cakes. That dude's dope. Goes from pressure ropes to cakes, bro. Sitting in Jersey right now, put some cakes together for a wedding, like that guy's fucking the shit. Love that guy, dude.
McKenny chimed in. He just actually texted me. And this was something I wanted to talk to you about too, because you actually inspired me after Tim had kind of sent me a link to this. Basically, you did a documentary on Frankie Hill.
Oh, my. Yeah.
And I watched part of that and I was like, I wonder if Frankie would come on the show. Like at that time, I was like, there's no way he's coming on. And I reached out to him and he's like, sure. Like he hit me up and he was like, he was so hyped. But you kind of like Tim. Anyway, how did that all get going? That's in so much respect and love.
Thank you, man. It means the world to me. I'm very honored. That was the most awesome experience of my life. Like when I die in my grave,
how fucking epic is Frankie Hill?
So the funny thing about that, so I just got laid off from Airspeed. This is between my car lot job and Airspeed. I was working at the taco place, making not even enough for rent. My wife is bartending. She's making good tips. So she's basically supporting my ass. I have no really, I got a couple $100 coming in, but not really anything that's substantial for California standards. And anyway, Frankie Hill inboxes me on, I think it was MySpace. I don't think it was Facebook. This is predates Facebook. He's like, hey, is there any openings on Airspeed for me, for an old guy like me on the team? I was like, is this really Frankie Hill? I thought I was being trolled. I really thought it was catfish. I'm like, there's no way fucking Frankie Hill's on social media. And I was like, dude, I looked up to you as a kid. You're one of my heroes. And I'm like, what is it like? Why has no one ever done like an on video or a documentary? He's like, I don't know. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do one. He's like, all right. And we started bullshitting on the phone and we're talking. I realized it's the real Frankie Hill I'm talking to, not some bullshit. Me and my wife drive up to Santa Barbara. I rent a hotel for a week. And this is the funny thing is I don't have much video, editing experience or video production experience. I had a shitty laptop with iMovie on it. No Final Cut or anything. I had a shitty GL2 Canon video camera, mini DV tape camera. I didn't have any of the pro equipment. I had some lav mics that I bought at a local camera store just so I could mic him up. You know, and I mean, again, I don't have much experience in this. Of course, the people are really critiquing like, oh, this is so low res, it's so shitty. It's the worst documentary ever made. I'm like, well, no shit. It was done by one person with no budget that was really looking at a taco shop, living off his wife's tips from a bar, not some guy that, I don't have a Ty Evans budget here, And so anyway, I fucking go up to Santa Barbara. I meet the guy. I realize it's really him. Again, even when we're driving, I told my wife, we're driving up the 5 and I'm like, if this isn't the guy, we're going to run. Okay, babe. Like I talked to the phone, shit, but yeah, I'm thinking some catfish situation. I'm thinking some guy that wants to wear a skin as a suit. I don't fucking know. Cause I've never met him, but I know, I know everything about Frankie Hill, like any good skateboard group in the 80s does. And so we get there, I meet him, humble as fuck, super nice guy. He reminds me of my brother-in-law. Like my sister's married to a guy that looks just like him. His freaky, his like demeanor and his like humor is like real quick, kind of, like flashy, like one-liners. And so anyway, we hang out, we go skate around for a day. My wife kind of films us this bullshitting. I get to know the guy a little better. And then we go to his house and he cooks us dinner and he's just like cooking bacon and shit, making eggs and making like breakfast for dinner. And we're bullshitting. And I'm just interviewing him. I put the mic on him. I start interviewing him. And I'm like, God, this is fucking cool. And then we go to all these skate spots that he used to skate back in. I'm interviewing him, at all the legendary Santa Barbara spots.
I like that.
And then I go back to San Diego and hit up Blair Alley at Transworld. And I'm like, dude, I need to get a hold of people that fucking knew, Frankie back in the day. And one of the ones he kept mentioning in the interview was Guy Mariano. And, how do I get a hold of him? Blair Alley's like, oh, here's his email address. Of course, Guy doesn't respond to his email. And then I hit up Rick Howard. I'm like, I tell him about me. I'm making a documentary. Rick Howard gives me Guy's fucking cell phone number. So I text Guy. I'm like, can I interview you? Because he speaks really highly of you. And there's all these really interesting, beautiful stories about them going to the road together. And Frankie almost riding for blind and just them hanging out in the Powell days and just how Guy was just really funny and comedic and and all this wonderful shit. So I wanted to hear it from his side. So I hit Guy. He's like, yeah, come to my skate park. Like, here's the address, Burbank, California. I won't give the details. I still remember the address actually kind of weirdly. Anyway, we go up there, knock on this door that has no label. Of course, it's that indoor park that him and Beeble and rest in peace to had. And I go in there and we interview Guy, and I started hanging with Guy. We skate with Guy all day. It's wonderful. I met Guy maybe a handful of times before that, but it wasn't like I knew him, I wasn't tight with him. Not like I've gone to a backyard barbecue with him or anything,
Right.
And so I interviewed Guy, and then that gets out. I get a frame grab of Guy from the video. I'm like, I'm doing a real documentary of Frankie. So look, I got this guy. So that kind of helped me open the door of other people that were like, oh, if Guy Marlowe's down with it. Of course, high schoolers, skateboarders are all like high schoolers. They're all like fucking Arrested Development. They're like, oh, well, if he thinks it's cool, then it's cool. It's like Billy Madison. Oh, he pissed his pants, so it's cool, right? So all of a sudden, everyone's coming out of the woodwork. I'm getting guys like Lance Coughlin in there. I'm getting Grant Britton. I'm getting all these notables in skateboarding. You just go down the list of pros that knew Frankie. And I'm interviewing them. I'm going to their place and interviewing them. I'm just getting them on a tripod. I'm asking them some questions just like you are. I love mic them. Boom. I knock it out. And then maybe like a month later, I fucking put the DVD out. And of course, YouTube kind of sucked at that time. It kept on taking things down because of copyright infringement, like, you know, certain parts of his interviews with like, you know, the Powell video in the background, stuff like that. Yeah. And so I put it on Vimeo. So if you want to see the whole documentary in its truest essence, the whole hour and 45 minutes, it's on Vimeo. All that shit you see on YouTube is just sections of it that didn't get deleted. Pat Duffy's section keeps getting deleted. You know, guys like that, like Pat, awesome. I saw Pat at the trade show. And I was like, hey, I'm doing a documentary with Frankie Hill. And he didn't want the lav mic. It was the best. I had like a big mic. I was like, which mic do you want? Mr. Microphone. And he's like, give me that fucking one. Like, it was great. Pat was awesome. We're just sitting there with the big mic. And Pat I fucking love Pat. Me and him still talk all the time on Instagram, man. He's a great dude.
He's the
legend.
Best. Yeah.
He is the fucking best. Love that guy like a brother. I give him one of my fucking kidneys too, just like Card. Like he is fucking great, man. Like always been good to me, always humble, always hyped me up at demos. I went to an Autobahn demo with him and had a great time, and hung with him in bars and several bars. You know? Yeah, casinos. And
what's the name of the documentary? Like if someone wanted to look it up on Vimeo, is there a title? Yeah. Is it just Frankie Hill documentary?
It's the Frankie Hill documentary. I wanted to give it a fancy name. I wanted to call it like disposable marketing tool. Frankie Hill. I was going to call it, that was my catchphrase, the disposable marketing tool, Frankie Hill. That's what I was going to call it. Cause you know, it was like, he was a disposable marketing tool, just like all skaters. Right. But then he didn't like that title. So he just says, just call it the Frankie Hill documentary. So he argued against that. So it's just the Frankie Hill documentary by Nate Sherwood. Just Google it on Vimeo and you'll see the whole thing. And unfortunately, YouTube it's all fragmented. It sucks.
Yeah, YouTube does that too. I've been putting some of the podcasts up, and like anytime I want to put music in, it just cuts it out, and I'm like, fuck.
Stupid.
So
it's fucking stupid, annoying. It's not like we're making money off this. We're on the artists that we're into. I mean, like, look at me. I'm into like obscure fucking punk rock bands. Like none of those bands are fucking making millions of dollars off what we're doing. You know what I mean? Like we're helping them get notoriety and seen by people that never even heard of them, you know?
Absolutely.
I mean, the listeners are going to hear of Handy with Shovels out there, you know what I mean? Like, you know, they're going to be like, what the fuck is that? You never rolled enough. You know? Never now and later.
Speaking of that, a lot of interest in your 411 music.
Oh, yeah. That's funny. So my friend Eric Berry, you guys can all see him in let's see, Boston Public. He's an actor, but he always is in like those weird Mike Rappaport films. Cheesy E, yep. His stage name is Cheesy E. His day job is he's like an actor. He's always in like random Dick Wolf shows. And what's the other show he's on? Well, he's in that movie Cecil B. Meth. He plays Fidget in there with anyway, long story short. Yeah, so he's an actor, and his hobby is to go into a sound booth, aka his bathroom, and just to rap and put weird beats to it. Like he does it on his laptop. This is like a hobby, like not serious. It's like it's kind of like he honestly. Fuck Andy Samberg. He ripped off Lonely Island from Cheesy E. I mean that joking. No, I like Andy Samberg. I like his humor. I'm just joking. I like Andy Samberg. I was just trying to be funny. But seriously, he was doing that kind of like comedy, you know, thing like that years before me. Of course, obviously, Fat Boys and dudes like that were doing it too. But
Cheesy E was doing years ago. Nasty. You know Dirt Nasty?
No, I have no idea what the fuck that is.
You check that one out.
Just check him out. But anyway, Cheesy E, the music in my 4-1 part was Cheesy E. I used a lot of Cheesy E songs for a lot of edits and things over the years. I remember having a Heliclips edit that it was Cheesy. One, it never gets deleted. Two, he's just a good friend. He's hilarious. His lyrics are ridiculous. You know, he'll get ideas from my shit too, which is hilarious. Like I printed this shirt when I was still in San Diego, said more thrash, less fashion. It was obviously in the Thrasher font. It was just, you know, like get out and skate. Don't worry about your fashion statements, motherfuckers. Like skateboarding is not a fashion show. It's performance art. You know, the NASCAR is a sport, like I said. And I printed a shirt, and then Cheesy saw that shirt and wrote a song all about my shirt called More Thrash and Less Fashion, which you can buy in iTunes. And the best thing about it was like, it was just all about like pretty much what we just, you know, summed up right there. And anyway, but yeah, Cheesy is just hilarious. He's funny. He doesn't get deleted. He's pure comedy. He's a great actor. He actually is back scenes of MTV. He like works behind the counter on like all kinds of reality shows and shit. He's like a PA of some sort, but like, yeah, good dude. Love that guy. Yeah, it's Cheesy, man. Great motherfucker, man.
The end of it when you run into the scooter kid.
Oh, yeah. I fucking hit that scooter kid. Kicked him in the ribs.
So good.
Fucking that. Dude, scooters, fucking, they're a virus. Dear God. What the hell? I mean, I get it. There's some scooter people that are great. They're adults. They're having fun. I'm not going to sit here and shit on someone. I'm a grown-ass man. I don't have time to have tribalism or problems with anybody. I love all humans, no matter what creed, race, religion, gender, whatever. But scooters, dude, that's the only thing I'm a stereotype. Most scooter kids don't look where they're going. They get in your way. They're fucking horrible, man. They fuck up every session. I mean, it's well documented. But yeah, like that was just, I was going for that little shove crush Manny, and then, you know, just, yeah, boom, orange suit dude goes flying. That Yeah, that was a different time in my life. I'm not that violent anymore. I don't care about my tricks that much. But, when you're young and stupid and full of haste, you're desperate, desperate for notoriety or whatever the fuck you think it is, I was kind of a piece of shit back then. When I think about it.
No, it's a pet peeve of mine though, is like, it's very indicative of today's society, which is people just looking in their phones. So they're not paying attention where the fuck they're going. Me and Jake used to laugh about like the people on their cell phone walking off a cliff, it's like, 'cause they're not even watching where they're going. And if you're at a skate park, it's like one of the number one things you need to do is look around.
Constantly.
Right. We're not all going in a circular motion. We're not all going one way. There's shit flying around and you need to be responsible for what you're doing and also get the fuck out of the way of what other people are doing.
Literally. Like, it's insane.
Rule number 0.003, like whatever.
Right. And that's not, one of my bragging points, which is weird. I feel like a fucking egomaniac saying this, but my wife is always amazed how like we'll be driving. We've been together since 2005. So she's seen a lot of near collisions, near deaths on the freeway, shit, me avoiding things, but I'm just calm as fuck and stoic during it. She's like, "How are you so calm? Oh my God, we almost got wrecked. Why'd you?" I'm like, because skate parks. Like, growing up at Burnside, holy shit, here comes Pigpen, here comes Wildcard, here comes Sage, here comes Mark Red Scott, here comes Germ, and I'm the little grommet. I had to thread the needle through shit. Yeah. And there's literally times like one time I was with my friend Eric Gusto, and I had this big old 64 Chevy, and we're in Vancouver, Washington, driving up this hill. And some guy's going the wrong way down a one way on a hill. And he's coming over, you don't even see him. You just see the headlights coming over the crest. It's in the middle of the night. And I literally indicate, I spot check, get in the right lane like seconds before he flies by us, almost kills us. My friend Eric has his hands in the dash. He's like, "What the fuck? Why did you indicate spot check?" I'm like, "We had time." He's like, "Well, how'd you know?" I'm like, "Dude, skate park rules, man." Like, I knew that guy was coming up the transition. I had plenty of time to skate doubles. Like, but it was just, I'm always calm and cool behind the wheel. And I can brag, I've never been behind the wheel in a car wreck in all these years. Just because of that very reason, because of my Burnside upbringing. Thank you, Burnside, for raising me right. Thank you, Chloe, and thank you, Tanya, and thank you, Red, for raising me right. Thank you, Mikey Chin, for being like a little brother to me. If it wasn't for those dudes, Brent Ashley, all those guys, and not scared of them, I would be an idiot that would have probably wrecked a car at least once by now. But no, I've never wrecked a car. No matter where I could be on a country road or a cow is in the middle of me. I can be somewhere where a fucking bald eagle's about to take out my windshield. I've had weird shit happen. I'm a magnet for disaster. But I have always, one time I was with Jeff King driving around LA, dude. We're on Sunset, right? And this asshole runs a red light. I drive up on the sidewalk, like full on manual pads test in my Volvo wagon, right? I drive up on the sidewalk because there's like a driveway ramp. I use the curb cut and I drive on the sidewalk to avoid him. And I drive on the sidewalk for maybe 50 feet and then pop back out. He's like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, "Dude, that was the only way to not get hit." He's like, "Dude, that's so not legal." I'm like, "Who cares? I'd rather drive illegal than drive smashed, be in the hospital." So, I just don't forget Jeff King's face, dude. It was the best thing ever. He just looked at me with this big beard like, "Oh my God." We told Laban about that after the fact. Laban was like, "Oh my God, I wish you guys had a camera." I do too. It was pre cell phone shit. And of course it wasn't like we would be filming anyway. We're just fucking leisurely cruising. Some guy's like, "Oh shit, woo." And I just swerved around on the sidewalk. Yeah, it was hilarious. I just drive I skate, man. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Fuck it.
True or false, the building you worked at for Duffs was haunted.
Yep. It was a haunted brothel.
Yeah.
What makes you think that, or how do you know?
And this is the crazy thing is I didn't want to believe it. I never believed in ghosts until I worked at Duffs, dude. This is fucking nuts. So Russ Pope told me that. Russ Pope and RP Best were like, "Yeah, welcome to your job, by the way. This building's haunted, blah, blah." And RP Best is like a Mormon dude. He's like Joseph Smith, Brigham Young guy. So I didn't think he'd pull my chain. But Russ Pope is a kidder. And I figured, Russ Pope with his sarcasm definitely would fuck with me a little bit. And I was like, "Yeah, whatever. Who gives a shit? Like, this is some bullshit." And I'm down in the warehouse. Like, I was like the guy that would send out sample shoes to people and mail up things and answer phones. I was the gopher, which I loved, by the way. It was the best job. There's no responsibility. It was just, "Oh, you want to go get a pizza? Cool." I just answered phones and dealt with people and dealt, whatever bullshit. And long story short, so one time I was there really late at night. And this is pretty much really close to when they're about to go to business. It was just me, myself, and I. And I thought RP was still upstairs. But I went upstairs and realized he wasn't there after the fact. But this was the crazy thing ever. I thought RP was fucking with me. There was this door adjacent to the warehouse. That went to basically this long hallway that had more storage and the water heater room and the area for the fucking server shit and all that crap, electronic crap everywhere. And, the Wi-Fi crap, whatever it's called. I don't know anything about technology. Someone's going to laugh at me because I used the wrong terminology. And anyway, I'm trying to open that door and it wouldn't open. I was pushing on the door as hard as I could. And I was like, "Come on, RP, stop fucking with me." And I literally was having a bad mood. I worked late. I was super pissed. I was behind on all these orders. I had to stick her up and get ready for the morning. And anyway, I fucking finally pushed the door open and it felt like someone was on the other side of the door, like holding a hand like this, like holding up against it, like that thing you do to your little brother, you know? And like I pushed it open, like almost fall on my face. I'm like, what the fuck? And no one's there. I look down the hallway. I kind of run around. I go back up the stairs. No one's there. No one's there at all. And like freaking to this day, I think that was a ghost holding that door shut, you know? And I hit up RP. He was home sound. Like I called him on his cell. I was like, where are you? He's like, I'm at home. Why? I'm like, fuck. Like just freaking out, dude. It was the weirdest thing ever. It turns out the place was owned by the Burlington Northern Railroad Company. And this is like 100 some years ago, right? So Burlington Northern would have it like, it would be like where their like staff would sleep and shit. Like basically when they'd switch drivers at different switch yards, different trains and stuff. Because Oceanside was like a hub at one time for that. Long story short, freaking the Burlington Northern Company fucking sold it to somebody that was like, they said it was gonna be a farm, but it ended up being a brothel. And the brothel had a gnarly falling out. Like the madam had a falling out with the John because of a payment. And she shot the dude to death. Yeah, there's like if you go to the microfishes at the Oceanside Library, you can find them. Like my wife looked them up after that because she thought it was bullshit. Found like a microfiche article from like 1908 or some shit of some old weird newspaper article about the lady going to prison for shooting some dude that whatever didn't pay his bill with his prostitute, his sex worker, whatever the politically correct term is. But isn't that crazy? So some dude got shot that didn't want to pay his tab for being in the brothel, and yeah, there you go. That's the details of that. Isn't that fucking hilarious?
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the guy that was holding the door shut. I think he didn't want me to see him naked or something. I don't know. He must have had his fucking side pipe out or something. I don't know. Didn't want me to dry dock or some shit. I don't fucking know, man. Who knows? It was crazy.
What do you and Rob Dyrdek have in common?
I'm trying to figure out, other than skateboard, I'm not really sure if there's anything. I mean, that was the weirdest situation ever. God, that was so crazy. And that was the funniest shit ever. So, I mean, like, fucking this dude, like, holy shit. I first met him at Tampa, like, I want to say it was 99 or 2000. And I was getting ready to move down to San Diego. I knew I was going to move down there at some point. So I exchanged numbers with him. I befriended him. At the time, he lived in North County, San Diego, up by Carlsbad. I ended up moving to Mary Mesa, like way southbound, But like we'd go to his TF and skate, and I would skate the DC training facility with him and hang out. We kind of befriended each other. We became really close. This is long before he was famous. This is, 2001, 2002 by the time I was there probably, but whatever, that era of skateboarding, pre-DC video and stuff even. And we'd hang out. We'd cruise on his word out whip. Me and him and Kalis would kick it. I mean, it was just, all kinds of shit, man. Like then he kept saying like, I'm gonna pitch the show to MTV, and I want you to be my personal assistant. I want you to be, it's gonna be me, you, and Big, and like basically right after the DC video came out, he was like, it's gonna go off. He kept saying this to me. And I just, and being the impatient piece of shit I was, biggest regret of my life. By the way, people, just be patient. It is a virtue. I'm an atheist, but I believe that all the way, dude, because holy shit, did I fucking learn my fucking lesson. So anyway, like fucking dude, like basically was going to pitch the show as like us as like the Three Musketeers. We're all going to live together. I was going to move out of my place. He was going to move up to LA, blah, blah, blah. Right. And, this is crazy. He basically pulls me along, and this was fucked up. This is what I thought at the time. And I realized I was wrong for this. And it's nice to get this out there actually. At the time I thought this, and this is a good lesson to anyone that's young out there that's maybe hot-headed or doesn't see the full deck of cards before they lay down theirs. He was like, can you clean out my house so I get my deposit back? Because it was a rental in Carlsbad. He's like, I'll pay you with a bucket of change and whatever else is left in there if you clean it out. And I'm moving to LA and we're going to do the show. I promise we're going to do the show when I get there. I didn't believe him. I thought he was just trying to hose me to like basically do like this manual labor for a bucket full of change. And so it was a 5-gallon bucket of change. But when I took that change to the Coinstar thing, there was a bunch of euros and shit I had to pick out and take to a bank and exchange. It ended up being like $400. So it was actually good money, but it seemed at the time like kind of like he was fucking with me. And anyway, the house was like, there was like this fucked up broken down Mercedes Benz that that fucking needed to get pulled out of there and shit. And so like we got it fucking turned on, had flat tires and whatever. It was fucked up. It was like burning oil. I broke it down the street and said he was gonna get a tow truck. And it was like, all this shit. I had to move tires. I had to clean all the garbage. I had to clean all this fucking hair out of the bathtub. I was like Bucky Lassie in the end. You know what I mean? Like I was doing all this bitch work, just cleaning the fuck out of his house. And so I kind of got hot-headed about it. I was like, whatever, dude. Like this show, you've been saying this shit about the show for like 2 years now and nothing's happened. Like, I don't believe you. And he's like, no, it's for real. It's for real. Right. And so anyway, I meet this chick, Samantha Anderson, at ASR trade show. Fucking, I'm trying to find a polite word to put it, but whatever. She was, I'm Eskimo with brothers, a lot of people because of her. I won't get the details, but
shout out.
Anyway, I meet her, fucking whatever. We go back to the hotel, things happen, blah, blah. She's English, right? She's from outside of London. She's from Ipswich, outside of London. anyway, like this chick pretty much like fucking offers me an all, you know, like not that night, but, you know, I'm going to fast forward. Like basically we talk on the phone. She flies back to England. We talk on the phone a few times. She's like, dude, I'll fly you out. You want to just hang out for a while, blah, blah, blah. Right. I'm like, fuck yeah, be a kept man. Like, sounds good. So I fly out to London. I'm fucking sleeping with this chick that I thought was, you know, attractive, whatever at the time. You know, we're hanging out, we're doing shit. I'm skating South Bank. I'm getting to know the locals. I'm hanging with all kinds of, you know, people over there. I'm over there for like 3 months. But in that 3-month time, Rob Dyrdek calls me up. It's like, okay, the show's about to go. You need to be in LA like in 2 days, like for the pilot. And I'm drunk as fuck. And I made the biggest mistake ever because I was literally lit. I lost millions of dollars. Ask Rama in his interview. He's talked about it. And like freaking, I'm like, I'm an asshole. I literally am like a drunk asshole. Like I should not drink too much because if I drink, I don't know. I changed, man. I'm Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, and I'm not proud of that by any means. And I fucking tell Rob, like, fuck you. This is made up. This is other bullshit. Like, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna go to Heathrow and board a flight, fly over to LAX, find out it's another hoax, or find out like nothing's happening. It's a pilot. It's not gonna go anywhere. You're not gonna go anywhere. This is bullshit. You've been saying for 3 years. I just go into this gnarly rant of like hate.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm gonna stay here with this chick. Like, whatever. Yeah. Hang up. Bad idea, right? Next thing, Robin Big happens, dude. And anyway, and I think he's gonna bury the hatchet, right? So I break up with the chick in fucking England. I move back to Oceanside area, North County, whatever. I'll just fast forward. And anyway, fucking like I'm doing the American Misfits thing now. Like I get back home and Laban and Ted offer me a really good position with Fuel doing their TV thing. I'm having fun. Rob catches one. He's like, hey, let's bury the hatchet. Let's bygones be bygones. I want you on an episode of the show. I want you to come up and hang out with the mini horse. And he just pitches this again as this nice, fun-loving thing. So like, you know, I get the address. I cruise up to the Hollywood Hills. I go in there and it's not that. It was just basically there to ostracize me and to just, you know, make me look bad for basically dissing them. But and I get that. It was just kind of those things where I thought it might have been privatized, but he wanted it out there. Like reality shows are all about drama, right? And conflict. So the whole show was basically just me and Rob yelling at each other and me getting bit by the mini horse and drama just being like, I don't know, I guess I lost my job. And they were never going to fire drama and hire me. And me going through like hoops and ladders, fucking Big hiding like explosive cans of paint behind the wheels of the SUV when I'm detailing it and blowing up, and me getting blamed for blowing up shit and breaking parts of the car and just, you know, all this like theatrics and hijinks. And again, I tell him to fuck off, you know? And so again, fuck you, Rob, whatever, right? Fast forward again, Fancy Factory, another year goes by. Let's bury the hatchet, bygones be bygones. I go to the Fancy Factory and like, he's like, dude, you want to be a janitor here? I'm like, fuck you. I don't want to be a janitor. Like he gives me like this fucking khaki suit with like fucking little doily, like weird shit on it. Like, I don't know. I can find a picture of it somewhere, I'm sure. Or they didn't use any of those scenes. They actually I only made it in the deleted scenes, like in DVD issue, whatever the fuck episode, whatever. But like, anyway, like Big Cat, you know, what the fuck's Drama's older brother, Scott, gets hurt. So I hang out a little bit because I'm actually worried about Scott, and actually end up driving Rob's car to the hospital because Scott drives Scott's car to the hospital. So he can, after he gets checked out, he can drive home because he had a concussion and twisted his neck. And I thought we buried the hatchet. I crashed at Rob's house. I think we're getting along. I have a couple drinks. We're bullshitting, you know, and I'm thinking we're getting along. And then after that, the DVD comes out or whatever. All these people come to me on the street because, you know, the deleted sections, Rob's just basically going on this rant about me in the DVD and then showing the deleted scenes. It's just another one of those humiliation things. And I was like, fuck you, Rob. Like 3 times now I've been fucking dissed. But at the same time, if I would have kept my mouth shut, fucking held it close to the guild, believed him and got along with him, and not been a hothead piece of shit drunk, I would have been where drama is now. I would have not had to work the rest of my life. But so, I mean, there you go, kids. Don't act smart ass. Don't act like you know the situation. Don't ever presume anything makes you an asshole, and don't get drunk and talk to somebody that literally could make you millions of dollars.
Or though, does that kind of like cement your position that like, yeah, you were just down to fuck with me the whole time. Like you were never going to, like you gave me 3 opportunities and you kind of proved me right. Yeah. And that's what like my wife said. This is what I was afraid of happening. And then I gave you I gave you the benefit of doubt. You said it was, but then 3 times, I mean, I don't know.
I know. Right. And it's hard to say. Cause I mean, according to him, the pitch was going to be, you know, Rob, Nate, and Big, you know, and that was, you know, it was supposed to be the 300 horseman thing. And it could have been bullshit. He was fucking the old time. It might not have been. I don't know. It'd be a great question to ask Rob. Because I'm sure now it's so long ago. It's like 15 years ago. I'm sure he would ask honestly. And I thought I've made amends. I hope I have. There was a situation about 7 years ago. We were having a manual pad contest in front of our shop. We built this wood manual pad. It was like a Manny Mania contest type thing. Right. And I just emailed Rob, like I was basically emailing everyone I knew to send me free products. And Rob's personal assistant responded with this very nice email, like, "Oh, Rob speaks highly of you. We're going to send you some products." This was when he was still in DC, and they sent me a bunch of DC shoes, a bunch of size 9 samples, a bunch of gear, clothing, hoodies. And so I like to think that me and him we're cool or whatever, I would like to think that, but I don't know. Again, it would be neat to talk. I talked to his personal assistant. She was like, or it could have been Rob disguising his personal assistant because of his email. So who knows? It was like, whatever her name was. So, there was like this, it was kind of funny. So, that was the last time I tried contacting him at all.
Well, I got good news for you. Talkin Schmit doesn't have a DVD. There's no bonus section. There's no extras. What we do is what we get. And this is all going to be it. So I got no
I would never think that you would do that. And I was an idiot then too, man. I would have just rolled the punches, enjoyed it more. I was down to be the clown, be the payaso. I think what it was it was the way his condescension was in the manner that it wasn't like the fun like you and Jake Phelps or me and like my friends like we're bullshitting each other, we're kidding each other, we're toking each other. It was more this like ostracizing, like I am the king and you are the fucking you're the bitch. You know what I mean? And, oh shit! Oh my god! This thing just cut off. Oh, it's doing low battery, but I got a charger. I'm plugging the charger in, dude. But the way Rob did it, I'm charging the phone. The way Rob conducted himself was like, it wasn't in that fun, like, oh well, fuck you, Shag. Fuck you. You look like this or whatever. It was more like this very condescending, very mean, like spirited. It wasn't comedic. You know what I mean? There wasn't an element of like you're hanging on the bowling league with your buddies and you're cracking jokes and you're making fun of each other in good spirits. It was more of a harsh, like finger in the butt and like I run the world, like puppet master thing, which didn't make any sense to me. There was no use for that. Of course, if I get made fun of, like now I don't care. I was a lot different in my life back then too. I had a lot of different things going on, and now I'm way more mature now and I would have handled it way differently, of course. But at that time in my life, I definitely made some very poor decisions. And that was probably the biggest one in the sense, financial, at least. Spiritually, I think I made the right thing, but yeah, man, financially it was definitely stupid, but other reasons, whatever. And like you said, it could have been a pawn the whole time. Who knows? I might never ended up like drama. It might have been one of those things, like you said, it could have been just the world's biggest hoax I fell for altogether. And then haha,
Yeah. Well, you never know. We are winding down. I just got a few more things I wanted to run by you.
Whatever, buddy. I'm an open book. You can ask me whatever you want to ask me, man.
Okay.
I'm so down to talk about anything. There's nothing off limits, man.
I got a new segment that's one and done. It's only for this interview here, and it's called Nate's Greats. And basically, Nate's Greats, and it's basically your top 4. It's like your Mount Rushmore of each category that I give you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
we're going to start out with one that might be a little tricky, which is vert skaters.
Oh, yeah. Mike Conroy, for sure. I fucking love Mike Conroy. He's one of my heroes.
Okay.
Mike Conroy is number 1. I always liked his style. I thought he was very underrated. Oh, my God, dude. Jeff Phillips, rest in peace. Fucking just so amazing. I looked up to him as a kid so hard, dude. He was so fucking gnarly. Oh, my God, dude. It's going to fucking kill me. I can see his face, backside pivot grinds, gnarly, hurt his back, got fucked up, roof for Black Label, had a fucking, always about Rebel Skates. Huge dude. Oh my God, what was his name? Ben Schroeder. Fucking Ben Schroeder. That's number 3. I could see his face. I just couldn't fucking think his name. Ben Schroeder's number 3 because he was doing like ledge tricks on vert. I was such a fucking fan of that. Absolutely. And then, God, who fucking else, dude? Mike Frazier. Fucking Mike Frazier. Let's do him as number 4.
Check. All right. Mike Frazier. Hopefully he's coming on the show soon. I've been talking with him. And then just for a disclaimer, these are going to be things that kind of off the top of your mind. So like later, if somebody's like, what about this guy? It's like, dude, yeah, of course that guy, but this is what came to my mind. So like, we don't have to get too hypercritical. We're going to go from vert skaters into road snacks. Top 4 road snacks.
Yeah. Snacks that you eat on the road.
Yeah. Like your favorite, we're stopping at we're getting gas and you're running in and grabbing 4 things for the next 6 hours.
Smoked almonds. I love smoked almonds.
All right.
I'm a huge fan of those guys.
Yep.
Before I developed my gluten intolerance, it was pretzels, but now if I can find like a gluten-free salty pretzel, I like my starchy stuff. I like, I'm trying to think of what else I do. Like, dude, red vines. I'm always down for licorice, but I haven't fucked with that forever. I black licorice if I can get it. Again, now that my gut's screwed up, I'd probably say like baked chips, like something baked, like whatever. And God, dude, like whatever water I can get in a box. I like that boxed water instead of plastic. I feel bad living in the ocean killing turtles. So I try to get that like boxed water. I try to support that when they have it at a gas station.
We just got cases of that for the wedding.
Oh, fuck yeah. Kick ass. That's gonna be great for you and your fiance, man. You guys have so much fun. You're going to Fiji or something afterwards, right?
We were looking into it, and then the COVID just hit there. So I don't know. We're trying to figure it out. We might go to Fresno. We might go visit Ryan Johnson.
Go see Ryan Johnson and his brother Nate, bro. Yeah. Dude, fucking go to Fresno. That'd be a great fucking honeymoon. Go to Fresno, just go to Central Valley. See some dust bowls, some plantations and shit of almonds.
Or Cedar Rapids. Do we got SF to Cedar Rapids direct or no way?
Dude, you can transfer to Chicago O'Hare. Yeah, you go to
Chicago first.
Or I could drive to Chicago and pick you up. It's only a couple hours away. It's like driving from Stockton to Fresno, probably. You know.
Is there an airport in Cedar Rapids?
Yeah, we got an international airport. Yeah, we fly. We have daily flights to go in and out of here, man. I mean, you can fly to. I mean, you can drive to exotic places. Like Vancouver, British Columbia. It's gonna be funny. I mean, they you can go to Mexico. You can go to, Mexico City out of here and stuff. I don't know if there's too many European flights. I feel like you have to go to Chicago for all the Euro flights, or any of Asia, anything to Asia, Japan, China, etc. But we have a pretty good assortment of planes. I mean, you can fly to Denver any day. Like, my sister-in-law lives in Denver, so we go there all the time. We catch like a puddle jumper, and we're like, woo, we're in Denver, sick, Rocky Mountain High, hang out, think about John Denver and shit,
All right, so we got Omaha, Nebraska, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, Fresno, California, or Bend, Oregon. Those are our 4 options for.
Where you going to go? Bend, Oregon is beautiful. You can climb Smith Rock. I used to date a chick, and she had good friends that lived down in Bend, Oregon, and we'd go there all the time when I lived in Oregon. Rachel Starkweather. I don't know, you might even know her, but I used to date her back in like the summer of 2000, before I could geek out before 9/11. And I remember she had friends that lived down in Bend, Oregon, and we took a road trip down there a couple times to visit them. I had so much fun just hiking and seeing the sights. It's just beautiful, man. You can go to the Road Brewery. It's got its own nature. It's like
I've actually never been.
I would say Bend, Oregon, bro. Check it out. It's different than Portland. There's no Doug fir trees. It's like high desert. It's more like.
Is it close to the crater too, or what is that? The Crater Lake.
Crater Lake. Yeah, so you're on the other side of the mountains from Crater Lake. You have to go west of Crater Lake about maybe an hour 45 minutes. But you can go to Crater Lake, just get in a car or rental or whatever, and you're good. It's fucking awesome. Crater Lake is beautiful.
Maybe
one of the deepest lakes in the world. I used to camp there with my family as a kid. That place is dope, like a pounder a key, dude.
So
it's seriously amazing.
We're on the verge of doing something like nice local to celebrate like the moment, and then put like a Fiji or a Hawaii or something else, like put it down the line a little bit when things are way more calm. Like everybody's, dude, it's like hibernation just ended and everyone's at the airport and everyone's in a hotel. So like prices are through the roof and availability is low. It's just kind of tough times.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's ridiculous, dude. I know, man. It's
fuck. What are we gonna do? And I'm like, Cedar Rapids, baby.
We got a guest room. Me and my wife can make it into a honeymoon suite for you. We'll clean up the guest room. We'll make it nice. I'll move all my computer shit, my old camera down there.
1 week with Nate Sherwood for my honeymoon. Like, who would ever guess?
Oh God, I'll dress up like a butler and I'll serve you guys drinks in bed and breakfast in bed for both of you. I will serve on your hand and foot. My wife loves cooking barbecue. And we'll cook for you. No, honestly though, all honesty, I have a soft spot in my heart for Bend, Oregon.
Okay.
I used to love going there with my ex. It was one of those things that I will always like remember for the rest of my life until I get Alzheimer's. Like, I would go there because it is beautiful. I mean, it is grand. Rolling rivers, you can take kayak trips. I remember taking a kayak trip with her, like jumping off in like these raging waters. It was so clear you could see fish like 10 feet down, jumping back in and getting in the turbulent water. Like the road, everything about Bend, Oregon, dude, is like, it's like a Hershey's commercial from the 80s, bro. It's not real. Like it's just, Bend is like this weird special place. If someone offered me a job in Bend, Oregon, note to anyone out there, I would move there in a fucking minute and stop doing my skate shop. It's like Denver, because you can still get to Portland. So if you want the rain, you want the Doug fir trees, you want the old growth forest, you want the waterfalls and the nature and the mountains and the ocean, you can still do it. But yet you go over this like thing, you don't get as much rain. It's like SF weather. So you have like this dry, nice climate. So basically you drive on one side of the mountains, you're in the rainforest of Oregon, as you know from being there a million times. But then you drive near side of the mountains and it's like SF. It's just, and it's only like a couple hours away. It's fucking the weirdest microclimate you'll ever be in. It's beautiful. Like Bend, holy shit, I want to sell you on Bend, dude. Like, I mean, you're more welcome to come here, but Bend, oh my God, that's a life experience that you and your wife will never
forget. It's the home of the last blockbuster.
No shit. Yeah, I saw that. I didn't click on it, but I saw the documentary on Netflix about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, man. Well, shit, man. We got to wind down. I'm sorry. Is this the end here, man? My bad.
No. I got a couple of things. I want to know if you can, in your mind, what the coolest thing you ever saw happen on a skateboard that you were there for.
Yeah. I mean, that blizzard flip that Chris Cole did that we talked about earlier, Carl's, that's definitely one of them. I don't know if it is. I mean, it was up there. It was definitely, I mean, there were so many Burnside things I saw go down live. I mean, I saw Germ for the first time ever when he did that like caveman, like coffin jump off the big wall into the, and I saw him do that when I remember being like in high school. I skipped class that day, right? And I think that the reason that's more iconic to me, and not to take anything away from Chris. I mean, don't get me wrong, that trick is obviously technically more difficult and way harder and more, precise. But the thing that was made that thing so nuts is I skipped school. I broke up with my girlfriend at the time, this chick Shannon McMiniman that I was with, she broke up with me. She dumped my ass. I got dumped hard, and I'm like pressed and sad. I go to Burnside to cheer up. I literally skip class. I run off campus. I get on the bus 54 TriMet. I ride to downtown Portland. I skate across the bridge, or no, I actually rode the bus 20 across the bridge and skate under the bridge. I get down there, and Germ is like trying to get courage to do it. And I come behind the wall. He's like, dude, I'm going to jump in this on my back. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And everyone's like, come on, do it. And there's all these locals, Jason Brodaw's there, Knight Rider, all these other cats. And he's like, I've never done it before, but I got to do it, damn it. I got to do it. And Germ's walking around like talking to himself like a schizo, right? And I'm like, dude, you just got to do it. Like, you only live once or whatever. I don't remember the exact words, but something along those lines. He's like, all right, fuck it, Nathan. Fuck it, Noodle. No, Noodle. Fuck it, Noodle. We're going to do it. And so I go down. I'm on the little spine, going over to little blunt stalls and shit, trying to forget about this woman that just broke my heart. Trying to forget about the class I just skipped. Now I'm getting in trouble with the principal the next day. And fucking all of a sudden I start hearing everyone screaming like, he's going to do it. And he gets up there and he's just standing there and he just fucking does it like picturesque movie style. Just on his ass, like whacks his back so hard, like hits his fucking head coming over like right by, like he threads the needle between the Twinkie and the hip and just like fucking flies out to the elbow like a million miles an hour like a fucking loser. Just like, puts his arms up. I remember he's wearing bright red pants. That's all I remember. Bright pants and like a gray button-up shirt. And he's just like, he gets up and everyone's giving him hugs and people are flipping out and Sage and Osage and, everyone, dude, the whole crew is just freaking. So that was probably the crazy for me just because of my age where I was mentally at the time and also because of, where Burnside holds a place in my heart. But Chris Cole's Blizzard was definitely nuts. God, I'm trying to think of some other shit I've seen that's gone down that's just completely fucking bonkers. I mean, dude, I don't know. I'm trying to think of anything else. It's hard. Like those are the two that come to mind. So I'm just gonna go with that. I'm sure there's other things, but those are the two that like.
I like that. You weren't there for Choppy's transfer into the big bull from the.
Ooh! I was not there for that, but I know the footage. I was not there for that. That was super fucked up. Like Choppy was so dope. I fucking love Choppy. I don't know where is he now. Where the fuck is Choppy now? I haven't seen that guy in like 20 years.
Probably chopping.
Choppy, yeah, exactly. Yeah, he didn't fuck around. Didn't fuck the party favors. He was funny. I always loved that guy. He was such a talented skater. He was always so cool. Like I just remember, like he'd show up there just all Hawaii'd out, like in his flip flops and shit. And then he put his skate shoes on. He has wraparound sunglasses, his greased back hair, and he's just like all smooth operator. Like he was like fucking. He was like Steven Seagal. I'd be like, "What's up, Steven Seagal?" Like like he was all like smooth operator. He just shred. Like that guy was like the first dude to ride for Nike. You know what I mean? Like literally the first guy in Nike. Like the first time they tried to make it, or whatever. Their first attempt or whatever, and before the Saudier thing. And I mean, just holy shit. I mean, fucking Choppy was dope. I love Choppy, man. I love all those guys. They were always good to me, man. It's weird you wouldn't think about it that way because most people don't know that part of my life. But yeah, watching Germ do that, watching Choppy. I saw Choppy do a lot of shit in real life that was crazy. Well, I saw Red. Actually, that's another thing I saw. Fuck. Can't believe I forgot about that. Red. Okay, like he was trying to learn tray flips and he's getting this big old scary like double tail, like weird grip tape, like blank, like a Z blank, right? Like a Z blank that he cut out himself. Like one of those Z blanks in the 80s, like just fucked up thing. It was back when he had like the gnarly red motorcycle with the two like fucking shovels out the back, like the big old Flying Eagle, like maroon red, like Harley or whatever the fuck it was, Yamaha or whatever. And this motherfucker's like me and a bunch of the technical guys with our baggy pants and our small wheels are in the parking lot. Meanwhile, all the shredders are in there. My friend Dan Lafferty, who actually did this art piece, ironically was with me. And we're doing tray flips. And Red's like, how do you guys do that again? Wait a second. And he's like, he's trying. He's kind of, he's flipping this football. This fucking pontoon boat of a board around. He finally pulls it. And we're like, fuck yeah. And he's like, okay, I got an idea. Goes over to the park. And we're kind of like, what the fuck's his idea? And you can just see him. Red's got that looking big dip and chew in his mouth. He's like, got that, his eyes are rolling back and forth like crazy poker face. I'm like, all right. So me and Dan and a couple other guys, like, I can't remember fuck else it was now for like me. It was like a group of us, big pants, small wheels, motherfuckers. Go over to the park and he carves into the bowl. Like he'll roll into the bowl, like spoon, like spoon into the bowl. And then he was trying to tray flip out of the bowl into like not the spine itself proper, but the little, quarter pipe next to the spine. And he finally got it. Like probably like an hour later, he pulled it perfect. And then like, I don't know, a few months later, I saw it as a sequence in some mag. And I remember if it was Thrasher, I don't remember what mag. It was black and white. It was like Mark Red Scott, like tray flipping out of the big bolt Burnside, like all like crazy, like, rah. And like, you never think of Red as a tech skater. Tray flips out and lands, like his back goes on the coping, almost dying, almost hanging up with like the OG Spitfires, and rolls away alive. And I was just like, fuck yeah, his hair is still long. You know, it's just like early red, you know? And that was nuts too, because he picked it up so quick. He's like, okay, I got it. Like after he pulled like maybe 2, he goes in the park and starts trying that. And we're all like, what the fuck? Like we're all like pussies. We're like, dude, like, you know, like how are we going to like, how do you like we can barely drop in on that bowl. And this dude's like tray flipping out of it, like launching out of it like crazy and flailing his boards like almost in the face. Like, you know what I mean? And then he finally did it. And then it was just kind of like, oh, okay, I'm bored now. I'm going to go back to doing inverts and flying 100 miles an hour. It was just kind of like, okay, I'll try it. Like total creative artist, you know, like, huh, I want to know what those kids are doing in the parking lot. I'm going to try doing that with transition. You know, it was rad. Oh, I saw Neil Adams do like the front side. I don't know if it was the first time he saw it, but I remember seeing him consistently do the front side 270 heel flip, like indie grabs, you know, like over the hip. Like, you know, he'd just front side 270 heel flip and then just poke his arm out. Maybe his mute. I can't remember if he grabbed mute or indie, but like he just grab and, you know, tuck it under himself and then, you know, go back in. I mean, I saw a lot of crazy shit at Burnside over the years. I mean, we could write a book about that, but street-wise, I'm trying to think of anything. The whole time I lived in San Diego, I feel like I saw so much shit. LA, when I lived there, I saw so much shit. I spent a summer in Pacifica. I worked for a truck company called Elevate Trucks. That was very brief. I don't know if you remember those guys. They were at a Pacifica at this dude's house. Like he had them molded at like Galling as dude Matt Cole. So I lived in Pacifica for a summer, the summer of '99. Oh, yeah, that was actually my weird SF story. Shit, that was one thing we had to talk about.
That's where McKinney lives, is Pacifica.
No way.
Yeah.
Sick. I fucking love Pacifica. I love that Taco Bell on the beach, bro. I remember that Taco Bell on Mouse.
Yeah, Lindemar.
Yeah. I was off Manzanita Street in Pacifica.
Shout out Pacifica.
Shout out.
Yeah, the bowling alley right there, the surf bowl or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Sun Bowl. Fucking Sun Bowl. So I lived there for a summer. The guy, Matt Cole, that owned Elevate Trucks, lived there. And now I can say this because it's legal in California. But it was like basically Elevate Trucks was like a front. Like he had a truck company that he had molded at Galling, but with their name on it. Oh. But he was growing weed in the basement. That's how he made all his money. He had a whole basement with a crawl space with weed plants growing down there with grow lights and a little mini ramp. And so I was living in Oregon at the time. He's like, hey, you know, that was my truck sponsor at the time. He's like, you want to move down here and just hang out? You can sleep on the couch. I'm like, sure. So I moved down there. And ironically, it was after Rachel broke my heart. So it's weird things like that was happening after women break my hearts. Anyway, I go down there and freaking like I meet Matt Cole. I meet him finally in the flesh. Like, you know, I wrote for his company, but it was like a sponsor me tape situation. And like, he would just send me like trucks and, you know, shirts and stuff through the mail. And, you know, I'd send little videos and things. And we went doing this video called fucking Levitate. That was like my first video part that was actually distributed in skate shops, was through Elevate, ironically, for people that want to know weird facts. And anyway, long story short, I was in Pacifica. So I drive up to Dolly City all the time and I catch the BART and I cruise around the city. And one time, speaking of tricks that went down, holy fuck, I can't believe I forgot this. Dude, this is my favorite SF story. Well, I saw a lot of crazy shit in SF that summer. And even before that, like at EMB when I take road trips and stuff. But like, fucking, I'm at I go to the library gap and I end up 360 pressure flipping it that day. And there's video of that on YouTube. You can all see too. I trade pressure flip the library gap. But the weird thing is I went there by myself with the intention just to film it on a tripod. Like shitty not even bro camera, like just shitty tripod footage. Fisheye, like horrible. Like you barely see the takeoff of the landing. All you see is the gap. It was like worst angle in the world. Thank God for fucking Sapa Lewin for fucking filming me and saving the day. Him and Domingo, those guys are the shit. So I get there, right? And I'm fucking warming up. I'm trying to, I just go for it. All at once, I go for the tray pressure flip. And I got my camera and tripod. Here comes Sagba and Domingo, some filmer guy named Domingo. I'll never forget his name. And Safa. And Safa did that fucking switch frontside flip, like late catch, late backside, like, you know, like full 360 over it. Yeah. And he pulled it like nothing. And Domingo filmed it. I was like, oh my God. I keep going for my tray pressure. And then Safa's like, I got my trick. Hold on. Let me grab your camera. You need a better angle, motherfucker. Like he's just like teasing me. Like, this is stupid. I'm like, you're right. But I was too shy to ask them to film me because I was intimidated. This is Safa Lewin. He was like big shit. That was like toy machine, bad motherfucker wallet. Yeah. You know, Safa. He grabs my cameras out of the kind of never met me before. Didn't even know who the fuck I was. Just here's some weird trying to pressure the gap, like whatever. Film me doing it. And that video's still on YouTube. You can look up SF library gap, make sure tray pressure open. You can hear the cheering. That's Safa. And I was like so stoked. I rolled away and I gave him a big old hip hop hug, you know, and you know, that rest is history. But seeing that go down live and then also giving the inspiration, him doing that gave me like the hype to, you know, pull my shit like back to back. Not quite back to back, but you know, like he pulled his, I got to pull mine. I don't remember how many times I hung up, you know, and bailed, but it was just so cool. And I Domingo, the filmer, never gave me the footage. Fuck you, Domingo. He had his angle, but I never got his angle. You see him filming, his angle looks really good. And I wrote on a $5 bill my phone number.
And then I got his phone number and he never answered. So it was kind of funny, but I don't know. He probably got stoned and forgot. But yeah, it was really funny. Elevate Trucks was like a front. And I can say that now. At the time, I never would have brought that up because I don't want to fucking die. And I didn't want to piss off Matt Cole. He was a nice guy, but like he had a whole, it was so funny. And Pacific was like, let's get the mini ramp. He opens up this hatch, not even stairs, but into this crawl space under the house. It was like one of those weird houses in Pacifica that had like the stilts, but like it was like sealed in with like, wood. And so I crawled down there and all these grow lights and hydroponic floaters. I'm like, oh shit. All right, cool. Skated the mini ramp. It was just so funny because like he didn't give a shit about how much trucks he gave away or who stayed there or whatever. And I thought about it. I was like, economically, I was like, oh, that makes sense. You just fucking grow weed. That's way bigger cash cow than, truck company.
What year was that around?
This is the summer of 99. Yep. I stayed there in the summer of 99. Yep. Literally the summer of 99.
2021, 2 years later.
Yeah.
The power of Talkin Schmit. We now present to you Domingo's Angle.
Tell Saba to find Domingo's ass. I'll never forget his name because every time I fucking hear the word Domingo, I'm like, where is he? And he never, I would firewire, I would have paid for it. It was like, it was just one of those things. I never saw him again. And he never answered his phone. Because like, this is that era of like giant shirts. I mean, Rob Welsh, giant awesomeness, just, the beauty of skateboarding right there. Speaking of Rob Welsh, God, that's one of my heroes.
Speaking of Rob Welsh, today's Rob Welsh's birthday.
No way!
Yeah, I'm going to meet him tonight for a little pump track. We're going to do time trials.
To give a big high five or hug to Welsh. Love that guy. He was one of the nicest dudes I ever met. I only met him maybe like 3 times in my life, but I found out him the first time. He even reacted weird. He was super cool. Right. I never just, it was in SF. I met him at Pier 7. I met him at the pier the first time. And, I was down there. Actually, this is fucking weird. I go to the pier and there's Carl Watson, Mike York, and Woo Welsh. And they're just ripping. And I'm just like fanboy. I go to my family, you're Carl Watson. You're Rob Welsh. Rob Welsh was kind of like, yeah, like, what the fuck is this weird? I'm just like, oh my God. I fanned out a little bit and I just went and did my normal repertoire of pressure stuff. And they were actually really nice. I just remember like Carl and Mike clapping for me. That was the first time they saw my weirdness, I think. So, it was a lot of fun. And I just remember that was the first time. Then I met Welsh in San Diego. I didn't even know he lived there. I'm walking around downtown San Diego with my friend Tim. We're drunk as shit. Here comes Welsh walking the way. I'm like, Rob? He's like, yeah. I'm like, holy shit. He's like, Nate. I'm like, we bullshitted for maybe 20, 30 minutes. And I was talking about his backside double flip over the barrier in the just talking about how hard that was. I was just, sweating him on that Transworld Park because it just, that barrier, I went to that spot and I remember being like, dude, I can ollie this. How do you backside double flip it? And so we talked about that a little bit. And then I met him again. I think I saw him at like a Crossroads trade show. Again, it's just, every time I've seen Welsh, it's been very tight, quick reactions. Not like I've ever hung with him, but always loved that guy. He's always really nice to me. Every time I saw him, there was never like a, fuck you, get away from me. I always had really a lot of love from the SF dudes. Jake and me would definitely have our he would do the bullshit thing to me and I'd bullshit with him. It was always very comical. Rest in peace. There was fuck Phil Sheo. I met at Burnside. Rest in peace. That guy was amazing. I knew I have that photo on the wall of him at Milpitas Park back in the day. Not Milpitas, but I think that's what it was. The town where Stanford is. And Paul Alto.
Greer.
Greer. Yeah. And fucking, I like that guy. I only met him once. And I remember he got Mikey Chin on Flow for Think. So Mikey Chin was like our little town hero. That was like a little brother to me.
Mikey Chin ripped.
Oh, he's fucking so good.
Rip. Yeah.
So underrated. One of the greatest fucking skaters of all time. Like, I'm a fan of that guy. I always talk, he's always in my top 10. So creative. His spine fucking, like his lip tricks over the spine that he does in the Dave Hupp video, his switchback tail into the vert wall. Like, he's fucking just amazing. I mean, I could go on for hours about Mike Chin. Yeah. He's definitely my hero. I wish I could have it. I wish I had a fraction of his talent, man.
His style.
Yes, his style is just so fucking blown.
He was made for girl. Like, he's like one of those dudes. Yeah.
He was. He should have been a millionaire, man. I don't, skateboarding is so fucking weird. It doesn't make sense who gets anointed and who has to starve and who becomes crowned this. And I feel
like it's the curse of Portland. I mean, Matt Beach, same thing. Like, the dudes that stay up in Portland, like God bless them, it's a great city and everything, but it's so far removed from everyday skating in the filmers and photographers and the magazines and the videos, the industry, and like that whole vibe. Like, if you moved, like those dudes living in San Diego or LA, it would probably be a different career for them, right? But
I agree.
Go shoot photos with them. Like, it's a trip. It's not necessarily like a day. Like, we can meet here. We could do this, whatever. Sometimes I feel like it's a little bit of a career decision for these people to stay where they, Gilbert Crockett's making a career. He moved back to Virginia, but like he moved out here to be with Zero and all that shit.
Yeah,
good for the people that like want to be comfortable in where they grew up and they like their town.
Right. I mean, Eric Fletcher was like that. He was Cedar Rapids, Iowa too. He was like the hometown hero. He didn't want to leave or move out. You know, I mean, he rips. I mean, he would go out to LA all the time, go out to SF all the time. He's getting coverage. He was riding for Flip. He was riding for Etnies, blah, 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 you know, Thunder Trucks, Victor Wheels, whatever. And then just, you know, like you said, he kept coming back here to film stuff and living here. And like you said, he was comfortable here. And just like Portland, like you said, I mean, I saw all the time. I mean, guys that make it out of Portland, guys like Silas, you know, he's always in SF. He's always at, you know, freaking Boozness' house. I mean, dudes, you know, but like you said, if you stay in Portland, I mean, I would not be a household name. There's no way anyone would have tuned into this Talkin Schmit episode at all if I never moved down to Portland. Like I would have been like a local hometown hero that maybe like 30 people would have known. And then no one else outside of that, no one in the industry would have known who I was. But I mean, all my coverage that came from Portland, you know, was so underground that no one cared about it. But anything I got that was anointed by, like, what do you want to call it, the gatekeepers of magazines and videos, was all after I moved.
We got a news break. Lindsay, this is for you. I appreciate you guys so much. Iowa has Talkin Schmit merch in the shop, Skate in Cedar Rapids, thanks to Nate and Lindsay. And here's what we're going to do right here, kids. If you live in Iowa, if you don't live in Iowa, if you can get to Iowa, buy a Talkin Schmit shirt, put it on, take a photo of it, send it to me. I'll send you a set of wheels. Brand new set of wheels.
Holy shit.
53, 54, 55, or 56. You pick.
Holy fuck. Oh, dude, that's going to go nuts. They're going to be in the shop all day tomorrow. Holy shit, dude. Oh my God, dude, that's going to be nuts. We're going to move that merch. We're going to get more merch then.
It's our way of giving back too. I really appreciate it, man. I know you guys are doing your thing, and especially for soft goods, it's hard to, you know, like bring on new stuff. I hear it all the time. I'm trying to get it out to as many shops as I can, and to have a connection like yourself and have our relationship like you guys did me a favor, and I really appreciate it. I want you to know that.
And right back at you, man. The feeling's mutual. Thank you for doing me a favor. Like, seriously, it's nice to be able to get out here and kind of vent some of these things that have been pent up in me forever. And a long time I kept a lot of these things secret because I didn't, you know, being an insecure teenager, 20-something-year-old, you know, you're not so apt to come out and show your flaws in the world because, you know, you think it shows weakness or whatever. But at my age, in my 40s, it's nice to show this so people that, I don't know, are going through the same things I went through can cope with them, or know they're not alone. You know, I mean, learning disabilities, head trauma, injuries, you know, whatever. I mean, I could go on. You know, there's a million things. Being deaf in 1 year, whatever. It's you know, and it's so nice, and I'm such an honor to be on here, man. It's such great. You interview legends all the time, man.
Pleasure.
I'm already even take the time out of your day to see my dumb ass.
Nah, it's a pleasure, dude. I think the perfect way to end this is, I think you have probably a really good opinion, and I'd like to hear it, is how do we deal with the struggle of living in 2021, whether it be, you know, social media and the slap message board and all their opinions, whether it be the COVID and the lockdown, whether it be legendary friends dying and like all these mishaps that like we've had a rough ride, and I'm not pulling out the violin. I have a great life, you know, I understand that, but there's definitely some things that are emotionally hard for me and probably a lot of people to come to grips with. Like, how do you look at those things? Like, is there something that you do in particular, or are you aware of comments? Are you aware of people's opinions? Do you just not let that bother you? Like, what are your vibes with all that stuff?
You know, it's a great thing to ask, man. It really is. You know, losing friends, and it's such a complicated question because losing friends is horrific. You know, Mark Waters died of COVID. Kurt Ashley died of stroke. Jeff, Grosso dying of a heart attack. I mean, people I knew well and have hung with and chilled with and shared hotel rooms with are passing away at an alarming rate. And I was not aware that in your 40s, this was something that happened. I knew it was something that happened in your 60s or 70s because I saw my friends, my family, you know, my parents and stuff, know people that died at that age. But it's so strange seeing people die, you know, 20 years precursor to what, you know, I thought was the common age of death. And, you know, that's something that's like, that's a philosophical one. You know, I identify as agnostic, where I think that, you know, all molecules and all particles in the human body. We're not, we're different than a duck or a roll of toilet paper or a blade of grass or anything. We literally are made up of molecules and atoms. And when we die, those molecules and atoms and that matter becomes either, like I said, either becomes a piece of wood in a door. It becomes becomes a tripod. It becomes something that's floating out in the nebula. It becomes particles of water. It becomes food for something else, nourishment of something else. We might be recarcegated as like an animal in a stockyard. It has to get slaughtered and then, re-put into a human body. Someone might have sex and become a sperm or an egg, and then we become a baby human again, or we most likely will not. Chances are we don't become a human again. We just become something else. We become some other entity in the world. So in my sense of what happens to you after death is some people think is grim, but I think that it's not really reincarnation. It's just kind of things. Me and Brian Lottie had a really good conversation about this back in the day. Me and Sue Trin lived together, and Brian Lottie would come over all the time. We had this really gnarly depth conversation about the afterlife and before life. And it was, God, I wish we had a podcast thing going back then with you, because it was insane. But when it comes to death and life, where was I before life? I would like to think maybe, all those elements of people that we've lost are hopefully going into things that are good, and hopefully good energy, and people live to, I don't know. I don't think there's any mystical bearded dude up there like looking down at you or anything and judging things. I think it's too traverse for us humans to comprehend. It's too esoteric for us to put into perspective. I think the cosmos, the planets, all that stuff. I mean, you go into outer space, it's infinite. We don't really know fucking anything. We're a bunch of fucking idiots. We're no different than a squirrel or a rabbit. We just have opposable thumbs, so we took over the world and overpopulated. Now, when it comes to like what I think about comets and skateboarding stuff, I mean, early on, I remember the message boards were a new thing. I remember going to Cal Skate, and this guy that worked at their Ken and told me about a message board. I didn't know what a fucking message board was. Again, you can see how internet idiot I am. Look at me with the Zoom call today. I am horrible at technology, which is maybe my saving grace. Thanks, man. I feel like an idiot when it comes to technology. If I like wrenching on things, I like carburetors, I like starters, I like fixing lawnmowers, I like mechanical things. I'm an old prehistoric Gen Xer. I'm a typical 42-year-old man that doesn't know shit. But when it came to message boards, I remember being at Cal Skate in the early 2000s. I came back up there from Pacifica, actually. I think it was that summer. And, this guy's like, look at all this shit talking on this message board. And it was all about this video part I dropped. And I think it was the levitate part. I think that just came out. And it was just, pressure books are so dated, this and that. And, to me, I've always looked at skateboarding as, like I said, a performance art. It's not a sport. And people can interpret it whatever they want, like cuisine. Like, I make sushi. I'm very prideful about the sushi I make. I think I Michelin star shoot sushi. But if you don't like sushi, you don't have to eat at my restaurant. You can go somewhere else and get pizza. You can get pasta. You can get steak. You can get whatever you want. But I'm the fucking Gordon Ramsay of sushi, and that's pressure hooks, goddammit. And I'll hold my crown to the death on that. But if they don't like pressure hooks, that's their fucking problem. Skateboarding is not a fashion show. It's not a fucking stupid conduit. It's not a gateway drug to Hollywood. It's not a glory hole of sweating other people. It's a feeling, it's a spirit, it's something that keeps people from fucking killing themselves. It's something that keeps people going in life that have suffered from mental illness and anguish. It's something that, everyone of every base of any economy, no matter what, there's no more tribalism. I look at skateboarding like you have friends that are of every gender, every race, everything, every class, there's no classism. I grew up with people that were, in Portland that were wealthy. Like my friend Max Sokol, his dad was like a high-powered lawyer. I grew up with people that were poor, that, lived in a trailer. My friend Josh Griffith, I grew up with people that were of every race, every background, everything. And skateboarding, I feel like, is the UN. It brings people together. And when people try to separate things, they try to say, oh, I don't know. I think style is a word that's often used to make up for someone's lack of talent. Like a lot of times people are like, well, this guy ripped it, but he had no style. Like, for instance, my buddy Jim Bates used to get shit on all the time. Like, he was the first one literally to like fucking, kick up over that drop gap on the other side of the Hollywood 16 over that scary fence. But then someone else, I can't remember who the fuck even did it now, like Chad Fernandez or somebody did it later. And everyone was like, well, that's the first time it's done. I'm like, no, technically Jim Bates did it first. Well, he didn't do his clean. That's how I'm like, well, that's fucking dumb. Like, it doesn't, that's like saying, fucking Doc Goody was a better baseball player than Jackie Robinson. No, Doc Goody was the first black baseball player. No, he wasn't. Jackie Robinson was. Well, he had better scores. Well, that doesn't fucking matter. That's not the fucking point. You know what I mean? He broke the fucking barrier of the Negro Leagues. Like, that's just like, you can't rewrite history. Same with Jared Barry. I love Brian Anderson. He's always been good to me, by the way. This is not a shake to him because we always get along. We've always been really tight, like good dude. He's always stood up for me. But, Jared Barry was the first openly gay professional skateboarder. It was on the cover of Big Brother in his assless chaps. He was the first one to have the guts to come out and say, I'm a homosexual and I ride a skateboard. And I get all these kids in my shop all the time. Like, it was so brave of Brian. I'm like, well, you're right. It was, because where Brian's pay cut, what he had to risk was a lot more than Jarrett. Yes. And Brian's obviously a way more talented skateboarder than Jarrett. And, there's all those things that go into that, of course. And Brian's obviously a legend, but you can't say he's the first, because it's just like the Ken Griffey Jr., analogy of, what the fuck I just said, like a Jackie Robinson analogy, but like, and I'm sure Brian, if you asked him, would probably say, no, Jarrett Berry did it. But he wouldn't take sides on that. It's just how kids interpret things. So because of message boards and because of misinformation, we get kids like that to think certain things are true that aren't, And so that's the only reason that's the only beef. I like freedom of speech, but the only beef I have with message boards is someone can make up shit and interpret any way they want for, their own liking or for their own profit margins, and then tweak a whole culture over it when it's not the truth, and it's just one of those things where facts are facts, and I rest on that, wholeheartedly. Like when I thought Chris Fizzle for 3 decades was the first impression, I was dyed in the wool. I would tell anyone who asked me that Chris Fizzle invented it, right? And then that fucking guy, Rad Rat Video, pulls out some archive of some dude in Stockholm, Sweden in '85. I bowed down and said, guess what? I'm wrong. I'm sorry. And now I apologize. I go around everywhere saying I was wrong. So, that's all needs to happen. What's the point? I'm not going to be a peacock and be like, oh, I was right. Like, no, well, Chris Fizzle did it cleaner than him. Who cares if he did it cleaner? That fucking weirdo in Sweden did it. He did barely rolling. And yet Chris Fizzle did it down some stairs. And Chris Fizzle did it to listening to fucking the odd numbers. But fucking, like whatever. It's still not the, you know what I mean? It's just funny. It's like, It's like the toilet of the internet is weird. And I deal with that hate. Like I always take criticisms like shits and flush them. I think the great MC, the Grouch from SF, said it best, like Living Legends and Hieroglyphics and all those dudes. It's like, I always looked at that as fuel for my fire. The more that people insulted me for the way I skated, the more people wanted to cut me down for it, the more fuel gave me to get out there and do it and to get in their face. And they would greet me with daggers at spots too. And I would just greet them back with flowers. I'd kill them with kindness. I'm like the nicest guy in the world, but a lot of people think I'm a dick. Well, I'm a negative person. I'm nice, but I'm negative. I'm definitely a pessimist. Like I'm definitely a glass half empty person. I'm definitely a fucking negative creep for sure. But I'm nice. I'm a friendly negative creep, if that makes any sense. I think Frank grew and me share that trait.
Is there anyone better than Frank?
No, that guy's fucking wonderful. I love that dude.
Best. Yeah, we've been hanging, and I love Frank.
Hell yeah. Did he ever listen to the mixtapes I sent him?
I think so. Yeah, he mentions you from time to time. Actually, he's like, "Oh, I was talking to Nate and blah blah blah," like a reference or whatever.
Fuck yeah, man! I sent him a stack of mixtapes with like funny fake radio shit and voiceovers of Cookie Monster and people arguing and shit and like weird beats in the background and.
Dude, send them my way too. I want to hear it.
Yeah. You know what? I got your address. I'm gonna send you some mixtapes, dude. Watch out. I'm gonna make you some mixtapes of weird shit.
They're actual tapes.
They're actual tapes.
I thought it was like a digital file. Yeah, I do.
No, I think, and I knew Frank didn't have a tape deck, so I sent him one of those 1980s like tape recorders, like the ones you can record on, but you can also listen to, the big one with the handle you had in like middle school.
Yeah.
And I sent those and some headphones with them. Yeah.
Or pull out the Musco beatbox.
I put some CR Dicks on there for him and shit.
Oh yeah, you were in that band, huh?
Yeah, man. I still write music for him. I just write a lot of comedy shit. I like writing comedy and humor and poems and stuff. So
if you ever want to contribute music, especially or sound effects or anything weird,
cool.
That you can be for a lack of a better term, the whack pack or whatever, but like
dude, yeah.
Contributor, like McKenny or whatever. Like if you want to fucking have a little segment or send in some shit, that'd be fun.
Yeah, I can put that on my resume. I would love that. I would love, you know what?
We'll do Nate's Greats. I would
love to have a segment on your show. I'd be honored, man. I'd be honored if I'd be so honored. I'm so down. Let's do it, man.
No pressure unless it's a flip.
I think that's Schmitting.
Exactly.
That's your hashtag.
That's my hashtag. No pressure unless it's a flip, dude. That's fucking for real, dude. That's how I keep motherfuckers motivated.
As Howard Stern would say, you have said it all. You have said it all.
Hey, I appreciate it.
No, one of those ones, dude, that I end up really excited about. I can't wait to put this up and hear people's reactions and stuff. The energy that we've shared right now, I have different feelings when I end these podcasts, and I love them all. They're really great. But this one really feels special and really fun and informative. I love the eclecticness of it. There's comedy, there's like tears, there's fucking information, there's heartfelt opinions, everything. And that's what life is, right? And so we're going to end it with one I know it's hard, but we got to end it with one song, and you get to pick it.
Ooh, has Handy with Shovels been used? Has Not the Same been used on your show?
No, Brian Lottie.
Let's do it. Brian Lottie, Handy with Shovels, Not the Same. Fucking that song changed my life, man. Every time a girl dumped me or I'd break up with a girl, I put that fucking song on. I remember recording it off of the TV set when I was a kid and like fucking jam it in my Walkman. Not the Same by Handy with Shovels. My number one draft pick for paying homage to the legendary fucking Brian Lottie.
All right, dude. Much love. I'm going to go out and buy a box of Crunchberry and I'm just going to open it for the fragrance, as I edit this together. Yeah.
You have to, man. It's literally what my city smells like. Going for the fragrance, bro. If I get out west, dude,
stay up and stay in contact. Let's fucking keep it rolling.
Bro, hey, let me get a frame grab so I can promote this on my shit. Hold on a second.
Okay, hold
on. Oh, crap. Oh, no, what did I just do? Oh, no, I did something weird. You still there?
We got all our gear loaded up and we're getting ready to go, but we wanted to get our pay first.
Oh, that's right. $200, and you boys drank $300 worth of beer. It looks like you're in the hole.
Oh man, that's terrible.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Talkin Schmit. You can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Anchor, Spotify, or anywhere you get your podcasts. When you subscribe, you'll get notifications every Tuesday of new episodes the minute they become available. Also, please leave reviews and a 5-star rating. It's the best way to help the show grow. All of the episodes will always remain free, but if you would like to help support the show, you can do so at TalkinSchmit.com, where you can pick up some merchandise like t-shirts, beanies, hats, and stickers. The website has an entire archive of all of the episodes, with extra photos and videos. Email us with any suggestions, comments, or ways that the show may have improved your life at talkinschmit@gmail.com. All interviews are conducted, edited, and produced by Schmitty. The intro music is Mary's Cross by the band Nature. Very special shout out goes to the executive director, Sharal Camisa.
Shout out.
Love it!
This is Talking Schmit, where the Rolodex is deep, but the conversation is deeper.